30 years ago to the day that the NWO formed in WCW, Hulk Hogan, of course, who I have here on my shirt, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, joining together to create the New World Order 3 decades ago today. Happened so long ago, I was barely a year old at that point. Obviously, I was not watching wrestling back then, but it was such a turning point in the world of wrestling that it's wild to think it has been that long since that moment happened. I've honored and acknowledged the anniversary since then, but 3 decades, man, 30 years is a very big milestone for such a monumental moment in the world of wrestling. And really, everything changed, not only for WCW and Hogan, but really the entire world of wrestling from that point forward, and it has not been the same since. So, wanted to shout that out as we get going here today for episode 658 of #AskGSM here today on July 7th, 2026. A lot of different anniversaries. It's actually Alexis and I's anniversary today. We actually acknowledge and celebrate it both today and tomorrow. Long story, but we kind of do it dual days, July 8th and July 7th. Today's the 30-year anniversary of the NWO, as I mentioned. Today is my friend Connor's birthday, one of my best friends. Shout out to Connor. Happy birthday to you. Today is also, not today actually, I think it's tomorrow, is the 13-year anniversary. And I mentioned this last week. Tomorrow is the 13-year anniversary of this very show. Since I started doing #AskGSM here on YouTube. It was July 8th, I believe, 2013. That was back when I wanted to do and started doing the show on Mondays. And I was thinking about doing a Q&A show for a while. I've had this channel since 2009. There's been content up here on the channel since 2009. And we did the WrestleRant show, which was really just like a weekly or bi-weekly, whatever. I would do multiple videos a week. Kind of a news show, reviewing Raw and talking about the latest wrestling headlines. And that was really where the WrestleRant name began. That was 15 years ago that WrestleRant itself started. The podcast started in 2013, WrestleRant Radio, although I had radio shows before that. 2013 was also the same year I started doing this very show, #AskGSM, and it's been an amazing ride since then. Obviously, over 650 episodes, which is pretty fucking awesome. I can't even tell you how many questions we've gotten in the grand total of this show dating back to episode 1, 13 years ago. It's got to be thousands, maybe not thousands. I don't know. I'd really have to go back and do the math, but it's a lot. And we started going live with this show early last year, which was the best thing we could have done with it. And it's been a lot of fun to answer your questions now, which it's always been great to answer your questions, but really dating back to last year to do it live here on the channel on Tuesday. So, and I mentioned this before, we started doing the show on Mondays. It wasn't until 2016, like the fall of 2016, that it kind of shifted the upload schedule around and started doing it on Wednesdays. So it was on Mondays for about 3.5 years, and then I was doing it on Wednesdays up until just last year. So almost a fucking decade of doing it on Wednesdays. We've been doing it on Tuesdays now since we have WrestleRant Radio on Thursdays. Kind of a nice way to break it up a bit. And yeah, that's really about it. So it's wild to think it's been that long since we first started doing this show. There was something else I was going to mention too. Oh, also the fact that I don't think we have missed a week of hashtag. I want to say in over a decade. So we're over 650 episodes in now. There have been plenty of weeks where I've been away at wrestling trips, vacations. I've recorded the show on so many different vacations, so many different wrestling trips, so many different, houses and stuff like that, friends' houses. I recorded it at college for so many years. Snowstorms have delayed the show. Fucking, losing power. Really, anything you name it, it has affected this show. Yet I've managed to do it weekly now. Non-stop. Obviously, we've been doing it for 13 years, but I don't think I've missed a week in over a decade. There was only 1 week, if you go back and check, where I recorded it that week, but didn't have it up until like the next week, just because I was at WrestleMania. I want to say that was in Los Angeles. So technically there was no hashtag the week that I had recorded it, but I did record it during the week. I just didn't have it up until the following week. So I still would count that as being consistent with the show, because I did record it on time. I just didn't publish it on time. But beyond that, I mean, the show may not always be up on the day that it's supposed to, especially now that it's live. We can't always do it on Tuesdays. Sometimes it's Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, whatever. But yeah, we've been pretty consistent with the show for the better part of the past decade plus, which is pretty fucking cool. The only time, actually, there's only 2 periods, and we'll get going with the housekeeping stuff and the questions in a second. Thank you for those that are joining live or watching after the fact, as always. But I've mentioned this before. The only 2 periods in which I could not record the show for multiple weeks was one, in late 2013 when I started college. I actively made the decision to not do anything on YouTube really at all for a while. Kind of curtail the content a little bit, focus on the college shit. And I didn't do the show for probably about 4 or 5 months. We took a bit of a break from it right after I started doing it. And then that was a conscious choice. The only other time where I have not done the show for several weeks on end was late 2015 when the laptop I had at that point just stopped working. I think I just couldn't charge it. And it was a piece of shit anyway. It would constantly overheat and issues like that. I had recorded the show that day, and then I couldn't charge my laptop because the charger broke, and I couldn't buy a new charger because the fucking port was broken. I was basically told by people on campus, the IT department, yeah, it's busted. You need a new one. So, and I didn't get a new laptop for like another 2 or 3 weeks. So we didn't do a show for a few weeks at that point. I think that was so far back, it was around episode 100. So I think we've been doing over 500 episodes pretty consistently now for over 10 years, which I would say is a pretty impressive feat. But thank you to those that have helped make the show what it is, sending in questions either live, tuning in live, watching after the fact. Even if you're not sending in questions and you're just fucking watching one episode or every episode, I appreciate the support. So thank you so much for that. We will get going here. Enough of my yapping, almost 10 minutes in. I want to shout out the channel members: Alexis, Miss Mon Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel, Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1, at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau, at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie, Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. If you want to become a WrestleRant All Access Pass channel member and support the channel, you can do so by it's $5 a month. You can check it out down below in the description box. I'm hoping to have more content up here on the channel soon. I'm still in the process of catching up on shit. I know I say that every single week. This past weekend was especially busy with the holiday and more shit going on. I was in New York City on Sunday for a Broadway play with Alexis, which was great. We had to go to a friend's party on Friday. A lot of shit going on. So I still have content I have to catch up on here on the channel. I also have content that I would like to cover going forward, such as Dark Side of the Ring. So I'll talk about that later on. Someone asked a question about that here for the show today. But yeah, just keep an eye out for that. There will be other content going up here on the channel. I will be bringing back WrestleRant Ranks most likely at some point. I still got to catch up on the fucking Hogan doc. Yeah, it's been almost 3 months now, but I still got to finish that and review it here for the channel. That is how busy it has been in my circle for a while. And the reviews as well on WrestleRant.com. I'm still a bit behind on those. There's reviews I have yet to get to from like 2 weeks ago, so just bear with me on that. There's stretches where I can get a shit ton done in like a very small period of time, and then there's days that go by where I can't get any of them done because just other shit comes up. So bear with me on that. But if you want to support the channel simply by liking this video, subscribing, turning on notifications for every time we're live on Tuesdays and Thursdays respectively, that works too. So please consider doing that. We will be live again after today for WrestleRant Radio on Thursday, where we will be talking more about Sheamus leaving WWE. We'll be talking more about CM Punk winning the undisputed WWE Championship in his Raw return on this past Monday, last night in Chicago. I will have a lot to say on those 2 fronts coming up on Thursday with RJ. We should be live around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We confirmed that with each other this morning, so keep an eye out for that coming up on Thursday. Of course, today here we have your questions, which we'll get to in a second. If you do want to send in a question to this show, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. Leave a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. Typically with Twitter, I try to schedule the tweets, but for some reason in recent weeks, they haven't fucking posted. I don't know why. The scheduling feature is broken on my profile for some reason, so I kind of have to manually do it. But anyway, you can also leave a comment on this very video. After the video is done processing, I will include your question in next week's edition. Or, of course, if you're watching live, you can chime in if you're a subscriber for a certain period of time, I think. you can drop your question in the chat. I will include it in the show here coming up right now. So we'll start at the beginning with all your questions. I appreciate you guys tuning in as always, as I mentioned earlier. All right, starting with Nathaniel. What's going on, brother? He said, hi, Graham. Do you feel bad for Sami Zayn, and how long do you see Punk as WWE champion? I do feel bad for Sami Zayn. He was clearly enjoying himself as WWE champion. He deserved a longer run. He was doing great work even prior to winning the WWE title, so I do feel he should have had a longer run, longer than 9 fucking days. But nonetheless, I do feel bad for him. Punk winning the championship, I have a lot of thoughts on. I'll talk more about it probably on Thursday, like I said. How long do I see Punk as WWE champion? I'm not sure. I don't think he's losing it to Cody at SummerSlam. That would be fucking stupid. For Sami to win it at Night of Champions, then for Punk to win it on Raw 9 days later, and then for Cody just to win it back at SummerSlam, unless it leads to Punk turning heel and beating the shit out of Cody afterward, which I don't see happening. And even if Punk were to turn heel, you can do that. You can do that without Cody getting the belt back for a 4th time in 2 years. So I would not do that. I don't know if Punk walks into WrestleMania as WWE champion. I do think the end game is him probably losing the belt to Cody. It could be in September at WrestlePalooza if they bring that back. It could be in October, Survivor Series maybe. I don't see Punk's reign this time lasting as long as the other one did. I don't know if it's Cody taking the title back from him. Probably Cody. Could be Gunther. I mean, we saw him lose the World Heavyweight, or rather beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship last year at SummerSlam. Gunther could be looking for retaliation. He could be looking for some revenge. And he could be the one to end Punk's reign this time, as opposed to the other way around. So I'm going to say no more than a few months for CM Punk. He probably needs a substantial run, though, because Cody's run lasted about 3 months. Sami's obviously ended within 9 days. Punk should hold it for at least 2 or 3 months at the absolute earliest. Nathaniel said, would you want Cody to turn heel now with Punk as champion? You know, honestly, so I wouldn't be completely opposed to that. I would not be as opposed to that as I would have been even a few months ago. The tide is turning towards Cody turning heel now that we have Obafemi kind of rising up as a top baby face, and hopefully they can turn Braun Breaker at some point. You got Fatu, who's got to get the fuck away from the bloodline. Trick Williams, among others. I think there is more of an opportunity there to turn Punk, or rather Cody heel, than there was even 6 months to a year ago. That being said, I think it would make more sense. Although people are more willing, I think, to boo Cody, I think it would make more sense to turn Punk. Now, I know this is like a recurring trend with Cody rivals, where they turned Orton heel, they turned Owens heel, they turned Cena heel, they kind of turned Sami heel. They're turning all these people that helped Cody kind of help him celebrate win the WWE Championship 2 years ago at WrestleMania. Punk, in this case, would be no exception. They'd be turning him as well. Sami never really fully turned, but I mean, he's kind of more of a tweener, but he is kind of an asshole. Regardless, they would be turning Punk instead. The only reason, and there's a few reasons, but I would say turn Punk heel because he came across, you talk about asshole, he came across like such an asshole. I know he was in his hometown of Chicago, but Punk did nothing to earn another opportunity at a world championship. He lost his World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. That was a different title to a different person. Him just coming on in, doing nothing to earn this opportunity, and just taking the title away from Sami, who I do feel bad for, makes Punk look like an asshole. And it's not like Sami was this hated heel. It's not like Punk was owed a rematch for the championship. He literally just walked in after taking 3 months off and won that world, or rather WWE Championship. That is a heel move to me. I love CM Punk, but that is a heel move to me. That is why I would be okay. I feel like one of them's got to turn at some point. A babyface Cody and Punk match is fine, but I feel like we're both of them are deep enough into their babyface runs where it would not be premature to turn either one of them. And I do think Punk has one last great heel run in him before he retires at some point, probably in the next few years. At least give it a shot. Maybe people will not boo him. I don't know. But I think it's worth a shot. They turned Cena heel. They turned Edge heel a few years ago. Orton went heel earlier this year. I know all of those heel runs didn't really work because people didn't want to boo Edge or Cena or Orton. But I still think it's worth a shot with Punk. First of all, I think he's a better heel than probably any of those people. I know Edge and Orton are two great heels. I do think Punk has it in him more to be an asshole in 2026 than those guys did. Cena's was just a complete fucking waste of time. I mean, that was just a failure. But with Punk, I do feel like he has it in him. And if there was any time to pull the trigger on that turn, I do think it would be now. Because if it's not now and it's right before he retires, again, it's going to be like the Cena issue where it's too late, you know? So I would like to see him be a heel one more time. I think he has it in him, and I think Cody would be a great foil for him. So we'll see. Nathaniel said, I saw the new Minions movie. It's in theaters now. All right, he's in the theater now, rather. He's seeing Moana on Friday. Oh, Moana comes out this week. I forgot about that. I did not see the new Minions movie. I heard it was great. I heard it did not do well at the box office. I heard it was like the lowest like box office draw, whatever, for any of the Despicable Me Minions movies, which is kind of shocking because this got really good word of mouth reviews. I heard it was like the best one of the entire franchise, yet it was the lowest grossing as of right now, and it was over 4th of July weekend. So I find that that's wild to me that was the case. I will not be seeing it, though. I did not see any of the other Minions movies. I think the last Despicable Me movie I saw was 2, and that was like 10 years ago. So I'm probably not seeing that. Moana, I was mildly interested in seeing, if only because I've seen a lot of the other live-action movies and Rock is in it. I am not seeing the movie. I've seen a lot of movies lately. It's not even really that, though. It just doesn't really interest me. It doesn't look all that great. Moana 2 was whatever. They're already talking about Moana 3. Like, I have Moana fatigue right now. A lot like with the Rock fatigue for a long time. I have Moana fatigue too. And I'm not even really sure the movie's going to do all that well. If the fucking Minions movie did not do that well, and that sounds like it was infinitely better than whatever this Moana movie's going to be, then I'm not optimistic. Nathaniel said, do you think Fatal Influence will beat Paige and Brie at Saturday Night's main event? And does Nikki interfere? I don't think Nikki interferes. If you have Nikki interfere to help Paige and Brie retain the tag titles, that would just be completely fucking stupid. I could see Nikki returning afterward and then them doing a 6-woman tag with Paige and Brie and Nikki versus the entire Fatal Influence group. They already had Fatal Influence lose a non-title match to those two a few weeks ago. And now they're getting an opportunity because Lainey Reed beat fucking Brie Bella one-on-one on SmackDown. Makes no sense. They have definitely cooled off Fatal Influence, who had a hot start on SmackDown a few months ago. They've been kind of cooled off. They should absolutely win those tag team titles on that show. I like Paige and Brie as a team. They've been a fine team. Their reign has already lasted too long. It is time to put the tag titles on Fatal Influence. Fernando, what's going on, brother? He said, Buenos dias, WrestleRant. Fernando, thank you for joining us. He said, remember the Royal Rumble that Shane was in charge of? That's what would have happened if Shane ran WWE. Yeah, that was the Royal Rumble in 2022. One of the worst Rumbles I've ever seen. He said, rank your top 5 transitional champions. Ooh, that's a good question. I've answered this question before, not like top 5, but like Darby Allin, quite honestly, was a great I don't. Was he transitional? Like, I think the end game was always to put the belt back on. The definition of transitional to me is like when Miz won the WWE Championship in early 2021 from McIntyre via a Money in the Bank cash-in, only to lose it to Bobby Lashley like a week later. It was never about the Miz. It was always about taking the belt off of Drew so Bobby didn't have to beat Drew for it. That's why they did that. That to me is a transitional champion. Darby, I wouldn't consider a transitional champion because he lost it right back to the same guy he took the title from in the first place. That to me is not a transitional champion. A transitional champion is like when Rey Mysterio 15 years ago this month won the fucking WWE title in that great tournament in a great match. Or no, he actually lost it in a great match with Cena that night. The same night that he fucking won it, which was such a slap in the face to Rey. Like, great transitional champions, I'm not even really sure how you can have a great transitional run when it's always usually pretty short. I would put Sammy up there, though. I mean, Sammy's win was amazing in Night of Champions. He was only champion for a week, but we got to see what he could do promo-wise on SmackDown. He got a lot of great content out of it on social media before losing it to Punk, and he lost the title in an amazing match to Punk on Raw. He won it in a great match, and he lost it in a great match. So honestly, Sami Zayn, to me, as far as transitional champions go, would be high up on that list. He would be high up on that list. Yeah, Darby Allin to me had the best. He had the best short title run I've ever seen as AEW World Champion a few months ago, but I don't know if I would consider that transitional. Becky Lynch had a great run as NXT Women's Champion. I don't think she lost it to the same person. I think she beat Tiffany for it and then lost it to Lyra. So if you want to consider Becky Lynch a transitional champion, I think that would make sense. She only held it for like 6 weeks max. And she had some really good matches in the meantime with Tegan Nox and Indy Hartwell, Xia Li, Tiffany as well. She had a rematch with. She defended that championship at least 4 or 5 times before losing it. Maybe Natalya too on Raw. She defended it like a handful of times before losing it to Lyra not long after. So she's another one as well. Jordan Bailey, what's going on, brother? He said, can't stay, but just wanted to say, did Cody really have to tell that Aaron Solo story to Fallon Henley? Did he have to? No, and I'm glad he did because it was fucking funny. That story was hilarious. First of all, I don't really give a shit about Aaron Solo. He seems like a nice guy, but he did that to himself. It's not like it's a private story, but really it's kind of like dunking on him he's not really his friend, I guess he had explained that in the story, but I don't know. I mean, it really wasn't like that big of a deal. Anyone who hates Cody for sharing that story can get the fuck over it. I mean, the story was hilarious. That's just common shit. I thought it was really funny. I mean, honestly, it also happened 5 years ago. What really stood out to me as well was that I kind of thought about it. I'm like, wasn't that around the same time that Aaron Solo broke up with Bailey? I don't know if it was his choice. He said it was mutual. I doubt it was fucking him dumping Bailey. What an idiot he would be for doing that, I would think. But that was, it was actually. I looked it up. So him and Bailey broke up in early 2021. The Fallon Henley thing must have happened in 2021. First of all, I would hope it didn't happen while he was with Bailey. They announced their breakup in early 2021. Fallon Henley was doing dark shit for AEW from 2020 through late 2021. So it had to have been that same year. He did not have a great year. Let's put it that way. Between getting dumped by Bailey and then just flat out friend zoned or whatever you want to call it by Fallon Henley, that is that's brutal. The story was great though. Johnny, changing his name to Johnny the Last Real Bad Guy. He said Shane would have been WWE, IC, and US champion at the same time and for over 5 years. Had he run WWE? I mean, I don't know about that, but hopefully not. That would have been terrible. Fernando said, in storyline was Sammy screwed by Adam Pearce. Yeah, he kind of was. Because he had no time to prepare for his new opponent. Now, I know his title defense was always planned, and Adam Pearce's excuse was, well, you were always scheduled to defend the championship. But, I mean, come on, man. I mean, it was not against the guy that he thought it was going to be. There's a big fucking difference, though, between, Punk and Cody are two, equal caliber athletes. But to not even tell Sammy who he was defending the championship against is also pretty fucking dirty. And I think it was Nick Aldis who made the call to Punk and not Pearce. Sammy was screwed regardless. I mean, in real life and in booking sense, if you really think about it, he was fucked because he was not. Cody at least he would have been preparing for. Punk, he didn't even know who he was facing until Punk came out. So, yes, he did get screwed. Johnny said, do I want Stephen Farley in AEW? That's Sheamus, obviously. I believe that's his real name or however you pronounce his name. I actually do. I'm not one to say, AEW's got to pick up all these people. They don't, but I think the Motor City Machine Guns, the New Day, and Sheamus honestly should all be all elite. Sheamus, the match, he's almost fucking 50, but the matches he can have there in the final few years of his career could be awesome. You can reunite the Bar and the tag team scene if you want to. Him in the Continental Classic would be great. There's so many fresh opponents for Sheamus in AEW, and Tony Khan would eat that fucking shit up. He would eat that shit up. He would love to have Sheamus in AEW. We've also never seen Sheamus anywhere else but WWE. He's been a WWE lifer for so long. There's a lot of people in AEW he's worked with before. Sheamus or Cesaro and Moxley, I'm sure, among other people. But there's so many other fresh faces as well he's never faced, and I feel like that'd be fun. A lot like when Claudio went to AEW. That was really exciting. Granted, he was younger when he went there than Sheamus, but still. It would be exciting for the same reasons. Johnny said, I hear AEW is going to have a show called Unfake. Because of Unreal. Unreal drops, I think, in a few weeks. I will be also watching and reviewing that when I get a chance. It's really more a matter of when I can watch it. He also said that it had to be a strong low blow by Maxine for Angelo not to kick out. Yeah, he must not have been wearing a cup, obviously. And was it the low blow where after Theory pinned him? He didn't do anything else. He just pinned him. Angelo can also be pinned after an eye poke and a finger poke of doom. Apparently so. Next week, Montez Ford is going to wrestle a security guard. Yeah, I didn't see that. I heard about what he did to the security guard or was like doing in front of the security guard. It sounded funny. I missed it when it happened, though. Fernando said, if you were a betting man, Grim, how much money would you be down for Sheamus joining the Don Callis family? Jokingly, I want to say yes. I also seriously think there's a chance. I don't think he would go there and join the Don Callis family. That would be fucking stupid. Because he is unlike a lot of the members of that group that could use a mouthpiece. He's not one of those guys. Like Andrade, even that was dumb at the time. And Andrade's already out of the group, thankfully. But Andrade could use the mouthpiece, so I kind of understand it. Sheamus does not. Sheamus can cut a promo. The Don Callis family is not fucking world elite. Like, they don't need to put a member of every different fucking country in that group. I know they have people from Mexico and I think Australia is where Fletcher's from. Japan, they had Okada and Takeshita. I mentioned Mexico, I believe, right? Hechicero. They have... Who else is in that? They had Mexico as well with Andrade. Who else is in the group that would be representing a different country? Mark Davis, isn't he also Australian? So, yeah, no, they don't need Sheamus in the Don Callis family. He doesn't need the Don Callis family. Is it likely, though, knowing Tony Khan? Yes, it is likely. Fernando said, I think New Japan will be perfect for Sheamus. I would love to see him in New Japan. They could probably use him because they have no buzz right now as far as from what I don't even know who the fucking New Japan champion is. Punk Hogan, Fernando said. Is any time, I mean, he acted like Punk Hogan going out there and winning the fucking belt. But anytime anyone does that, we don't blame the creative, we just blame the actual person. I don't know how much politicking's going on there. Nathaniel said, would you want a triple threat match with Sammy, Punk, and Cody at SummerSlam? I would, but Punk and Cody, first of all, is a bigger attraction. And also, I mean, it would really suck for Sammy to not be in the SummerSlam card, but let's face it, Punk and Cody is a bigger attraction one-on-one. No more of this shit where you save the one-on-one match for like a fucking year or two down the road. That was how we got in the spot in the first place, with matches like Roman and Rollins being saved and Roman and Punk being saved. Just fucking commit on these big stages to big matches. So genuinely, you know what? I prefer Punk and Cody one-on-one. You made your bed. You got to fucking lie in it. Do not take the belt off of Sammy just to do a triple threat at SummerSlam. We just got a triple threat in Night of Champions. You're just replacing Gunther with Punk. No. Do Punk and Cody one-on-one. Because if you don't do it there, are they going to do it in September? Are they going to do it in the fucking Survivor Series? Like, I mean, I guess, but no more waiting. Just get these matches over while you can before one of them gets hurt again or one of them leaves. And then people are waiting 10 years to get some of these matches. Nathaniel said, man, I wanted Sheamus to win the IC title, but now it might not. It's not going to happen. He's gone. I think he's completely gone from the company. So unless he comes back at some point down the road, at which point, if he were, he would be over the age of 50. I don't think he's winning the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, it could happen. For nostalgia's sake, I don't see that happening, unfortunately. Let me backtrack a little bit here. Appreciate all the activity in the chat. Got to play a game of catch-up. Fernando said, I think that's where I was talking to Nathaniel. Johnny said, unpredictable in WWE doesn't matter if predictable is around the corner. Fernando said, Punk did to Sammy last night what Hogan did to Bret Hart after getting beat by Yokozuna at Mania. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he wasn't happy when it happened to Bret, so why would the fuck would this be any different? Daniel, what's going on, brother? Saying you're. Johnny said, I hear Don Callis wants to add a female member to the family after watching Dupree join the Vision. That's a better question for RJ. That's not really a question, but he could probably answer as to whether his family, the Don Callis family, is looking to add more members. Good question here from Fernando. He said, where do you rank this title victory for Punk among the others? It would probably have to be up there. Because the match was great. Like, the way that it happened, I hate the fucking booking. I do think it's lazy. And I got a lot of blowback from that on Twitter for saying that from all the WWE. I don't even really think it's Punk marks, because I love Punk. I think it's a lot of pro-WWE marks that weren't happy with what I said. But, fuck you. I don't care. I just think it's stupid. Unless you're turning Punk heel. I said this in the tweet. Unless Punk is turning heel, he looks like a fucking asshole for coming back after a 3-month vacation and winning a belt he does not deserve on day one. If this was Roman Reigns, the internet would have imploded. But because it's Punk, oh, we like Punk. If it was Cody, people would be more upset. And I love Punk. But you got to call a spade a spade. If it was Roman, people would be playing the politic card. Oh, it's politics. I mean, some people are already saying this about Punk. I don't really think it's a politic thing. I think the creative just fucking sucks. I mean, they foreshadowed it the night after Mania. It's not completely random. But the idea that it would be, was he waiting for someone to get attacked in order to get an opportunity? I mean, was that why he was gone for 3 months? He was waiting for that. I mean, he just looks like he looks like an asshole for doing what he did last night. But anyway, where do I rank this title victory against the others? Obviously, Money in the Bank 2011 is number one. I didn't see the Ring of Honor one, so I can't speak to that one. That would have been an 05. This was better than any of his World Heavyweight title victories in 08 and 09. I mean, 08 was great. I love that moment when he cashed in Money in the Bank on Raw. That was an amazing moment. This was better than that because we got an actual match. In 09, he also cashed in Money in the Bank on Hardy. Kind of started a heel turn by doing that. Nice moment, but this was better than that. He beat Jeff Hardy to win the World Heavyweight Championship in a TLC match at SummerSlam 09, so that would be up there. That was a great match and a good moment. This was a better moment because they were in Chicago. Money in the Bank 2011 is obviously number one. He won the belt again at Madison Square Garden in 2011 against Del Rio. I still think this would have it beat, again, because he was in Chicago. He did win the belt, his second AEW World Championship in Chicago in 2022. This was a better match than the match with Moxley. He won the AEW World title from Moxley, or rather Adam Page, earlier in 2022. This was better than that. His match with Gunther last year, I loved when he won the World Heavyweight Championship, but it was immediately spoiled by Rollins' cash-in. So I would put this over that. And I would also put this over when he won the world title in that match with Jey Uso, because that match sucked back in November. So, yeah, it's not the best. You can make an argument for it being 2 or 3, at least number 3, as far as WWE and AEW are concerned. Because even in AEW, like the second one, yeah, he also won that in Chicago, but then he immediately got hurt, and then Brawl Out happened, and it was completely overshadowed by that. I mean, we don't know where this reign is going for Punk, but like moment-wise, not only was it a great moment, although I have my issues with the booking, they were in Chicago. The match was great. Like, he had an awesome match with Sami. So not only was the moment great, the match was great too. And you can't really say that about a lot of the other moments and matches from previous world title victories in either company for CM Punk. Fernando said, do you think Sami will get another world championship reign that will last longer, or was this it for Sami? I would hope that if he got another world title opportunity, it would not be shorter than 9 days. I mean, I guess unless he won and then got cashed in on a Money in the Bank, whatever, he was a victim of a Money in the Bank cash-in, that would be fucking awful. I'm honestly, I might be optimistic here. I think there is a chance Sami Zayn could win the world championship again. You know, it's not like with Kofi and who else? Who was the other one? Kofi. Jey Uso, I still think could probably win a world title. But all those people had Kofi especially had a fucking run. Like, he was champion for 6 months. Yeah, there was a story there they could have told of him looking to get the belt back. They kind of did on and off in the years that followed. But with Sami, he got fucked. He got fucked. And so did Kofi, but at least Kofi had 6 months with it. Sami had 9 days. 9 days, as Tony Khan would say. There's a story there for him to win it as a full-fledged babyface, now that he's gotten screwed as a tweener. So I'm not going to say he will win the world title back at some point. I do think there's a chance. Gun to head, do I think he will? No, but I don't think it's completely impossible. That might be me just being too optimistic. Gianni said, what is the best female heel turn I've ever seen? Best female heel turn? Female heel turn. When Sasha came back as a heel in 2019, that was pretty good. That was long overdue. We had long waited to see the boss character of Sasha in WWE, so that was good. Bayley her heel turn was surprising in 2019 as well. Charlotte's turned heel too many more times than I can count. Becky Lynch going heel on Charlotte at SummerSlam 2018 was great, although people took it as a babyface turn, really, because people were cheering her. And that did lead to her becoming the man, so it did kind of work out in her favor. I don't know. I mean, it's not Max and Dupree. I know you're asking that because of what happened last night, but no, it would not be Max and Dupree. It would. I'm trying to think. The answers. It could be Trish. Trish turning on Jericho and joining Christian in WrestleMania 20. That's a pretty memorable one. Lita, joining up with Edge in 06. That's a pretty good heel turn because it led to the rated R, superstar couple that they became in the year that followed. So Lita, Trish, who else? AJ Lee turning heel on John Cena was a pretty big one in 2012 when Cena was climbing the ladder and she tipped it over and started making out with Dolph Ziggler, or at least joined him, I think, the next night on Raw. That was also a great one. So yeah, there's a lot of good women's heel turns over the years. Fernando said, "How old were you when you first went back and checked out old NWO footage?" So my grandmother, I don't think she still does, but she had an N64 in her basement because of my cousin, who's a lot older than me. He had the N64 WCW NWO Revenge game, and I was playing that game even before I was a wrestling fan. So that was my first real introduction to WCW and the NWO and Hollywood Hogan. Actually, even before that, my first introduction to Hollywood Hogan was in, of all things, Muppets from Space, when Hollywood Hogan makes a cameo in that movie. That was my first introduction to Hollywood Hogan, okay? When I started going back and watching NWO footage, though, probably would have been, how old was I? Probably 14, 15. Especially in 2010, I was more familiar with the NWO. I was on the internet a lot more, checking out wrestling history and stuff. I mean, I was checking out shit on YouTube. This was before I owned any NWO DVDs. And in 2010, I did get the WCW, the fall of WCW, whatever it was, the rise and fall of WCW DVD. That was not about the NWO specifically, but it was covered in that documentary, the whole NWO thing. So I think 2010 was kind of when I became a full-fledged NWO fan and checking out more of the footage. And also, I had gotten a friend of mine at the time had given me, and I also have a copy now that someone gave me about 7 years ago. But in 2010, I also read the Death of WCW book by Brian was it Brian Alvarez and Guy Evans or whatever, Artie Evans, something like that. I don't know, but that was an excellent book, and that was another introduction that I had to the NWO that I was watching. And I also remember when LeBron made his big decision in 2010 to go to Cleveland, I think it was. He left the Heat to go to Cleveland. I saw an edit of the NWO heel turn debut with LeBron's face on it, which was epic too. So I would say probably that would have been 2010. I was probably 15 years old when I went back and watched old NWO footage. Fernando saying happy anniversary. Thank you, Fernando. I appreciate that. Johnny asking steakhouse dinner today and tomorrow. Alexis, first of all, doesn't eat steak. We wouldn't really go to a steakhouse, but we are going out to get something to eat later. Not directly after this, but in a few hours we will be. She has rehearsal later for a play that she's in, so we have to go before then, but we are going to a nicer place to eat, especially since we still have a gift card to said place that we have not used all of it on yet, so looking forward to that. Thank you, Fernando, for saying happy double anniversary. Nathaniel said, I had lots of Caesar's pizza for my Lakers Summer League game yesterday. I honestly don't know if I've ever had a Little Caesar's pizza. I've had Pizza Hut. I don't eat a lot of Domino's, but I eat that more frequently because we try to get at least once or twice a year, my brother and I. So I don't know if I've ever had a Little Caesar's pizza. I'm sure I have at some point. Johnny said 8,626 is the number of questions. I would be very impressed if you actually did the math, Johnny, from the last 650 plus episodes. Fernando said, if nothing else happens for Sami in 2026, what grade would I give 2026 for Sami Zayn? That's a great question. Obviously, we have to wait to see what happens in the next 6 months. I would probably say A-. Sami has had a great year. This has got to be his best year in a while. I mean, he's had some pretty good years in recent years, especially 2023 and 2022 when he joined the Bloodline. But to quickly recap, he became #1 contender in Montreal for the WWE Championship. He won that great four-way back in January. He unsuccessfully challenged for the WWE title against Drew in what I thought was a good match at the Rumble. He didn't win, but he still got a WWE title opportunity in Saudi. Was he inside the chamber? I don't remember. I don't think he was. I think Sammy missed out on qualifying for the chamber. The story with Cody's been literally has lasted all year. He has been bitching to Sammy Sammy's been bitching to Cody since like fucking January. And that story has been probably the best thing on SmackDown all year. So you got that going for you. He won the United States Championship like an asshole, which kind of worked because they did end up slowly turning Sammy heel a little bit, at least into a tweener. Had a couple of really good matches with Carmelo. Obviously dropped the belt to Trick Williams at WrestleMania, but that was a good match. He gave Trick another really good match at Backlash. The gingerbread stuff wasn't great, but he tried to make that work to the best of his ability. His character work was still great, and then he entered the WWE title picture, and he's been doing great work. He won the championship, has had multiple great matches with Cody, Gunther now in that triple threat of Night of Champions, and now Punk on Raw. I would probably go A-. I mean, the only A- is really that his title reigns this year that he's gotten have not lasted long. The U.S. Championship he held for like a fucking month at that, if that, and the WWE title reign lasted 9 days. But overall, I would still say it's been a great year for Sammy, and he has absolutely been elevated. Fernando calling me an Iron Man. I appreciate that, Fernando. Daniel said, is anyone still excited by a Paul Heyman promo? Excited, no. I'm not excited by Heyman promos. I thought last night was a pretty paint-by-numbers promo from Heyman, hyping up the Hell in the Cell match with Brock and Oba at SummerSlam. He does have the occasional gem, though. It's not as often as it used to be, because we also hear from him so fucking much. Paul Heyman is definitely overexposed on WWE television. He is capable of still cutting great promos. It's just not as often as it used to be, and a lot of it is boilerplate, paint-by-number stuff. Nathaniel said, how do you guys feel about Maxine joining the Vision? I'm fine with it. The only issue that I have with it is that it means the Vision is not going anywhere. That is not the outcome that I wanted last night. I thought it would go in a completely different direction with the Profits retaining and then Breaker turning on Theory, which is really, in my opinion, what should have happened. Because the group sucks and Theory's a loser. He won the tag titles and Heyman still treated him like a loser afterward. Breaker is going nowhere fast. But I guess it's a step up for Maxine. She was getting over on her own late last year, earlier this year. They didn't really do much with her as Women's Intercontinental Champion. She lost the belt right back to Becky soon after. She had that failed feud with Natalya that went nowhere. And then she kind of lost any momentum that she had. So they just put her with the Vision. I mean, again, it helps her a little bit, but it's not like she's going to be wrestling for titles again and winning championships. She should not be. Richie, what's going on, brother? He said, hell yeah, perfect timing. I just got out from work. Well, Richie, thank you for joining us, my man. Always great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Richie said, sup, everyone. Richie as well, by the way. We mentioned Daniel had a birthday last Thursday on WrestleRant Radio, July 2nd. Richie also has a birthday coming up on July 25th. That is not WrestleRant Radio Day. That is on a Saturday. But yeah, Richie as well also has a birthday this month. Fernando said, if trading was a thing in wrestling and you were running WWE and AEW, he said, and AEW offered to trade MJF the way the Celtics traded Jaylen Brown, who would you trade to acquire MJF in a trade? That is a great question. If, money wasn't obviously, trades in wrestling just wouldn't work because it's not, because all of the teams, it's all owned by the NBA. It's not like they're making trades between the fucking CFL and the NFL. It's all within the same league. They're on different teams, but all the teams are a part of the NBA. I know that's not what you're thinking. I'm just saying that would never work. But in some weird world where wrestling was all owned by the same major company, and they weren't all individual companies, and you could do trades like that, if they offer to trade MJF, you can't really give him someone like Punk. I mean, MJF is 30. He's in his prime. He is the absolute best part of AEW right now. And AEW is great, but I think the best part of AEW is unequivocally MJF. I don't really think it's fair to trade him like someone like they're all big stars. Unless it's like Roman, to give them Cody back or Punk. I mean, those guys Cody's not close to being done, but he's over 40. That's a big difference. Cody's a bigger star than MJF, but MJF long-term will do more for WWE than Cody would do long-term for AEW at this point. That's just a fact. If Punk went back to AEW, it would be a big boost for them, but it's not going to help them long-term the same way MJF would at WWE because he has way more years ahead of him. So it would have to be honestly, it would have to be, I would not trade Obafemi, but that would have to be the equal trade. I mean, Obafemi is to WWE what MJF is to AEW. And honestly, if I'm wrong, tell me. Like either him or Javon Evans. MJF's I like Javon, but MJF's a way bigger star and way more important. It would have to be maybe not Oba, but probably Trick. I don't know how well. I mean, I don't know why Trick to me wouldn't really fit in AEW. I feel like he'd be exposed real fucking quick. But like you can't trade them Ilya Dragunov or Carmelo Hayes. It would, if you were to do that, it would have to be like a 3-for-1 trade. Like an Ilya, a Carmelo, like 3 really strong mid-carders for one main eventer. If it was a 1-for-1 trade, it would have to be someone like a fucking Trick, who still has years ahead of them. Or, I mean, MJF is still more important than someone like a Jacob Fatu, but I feel like Jacob Fatu would be a worthy trade. Or Breaker, probably Breaker. I'll say Breaker. I mean, Breaker, especially now, they fucking cooled him off. I mean, he would not be cooled off if I was running WWE. But yeah, I think that's a fair trade. I would trade Breaker for MJF. I think both. I mean, I don't know how well Breaker would do in AEW, but I feel like that'd be a fair trade. What is my favorite Raw and SmackDown from Chicago? Fernando asked. There's been so many great Chicago shows. Really, I think more of the pay-per-views that they've done in Chicago, that AEW's done in Chicago, all the WWE Chicago pay-per-views. There is one, I'll mention 2, and I think they were actually both in the same year. I don't know if these were my favorite Raw and SmackDowns in Chicago, but in 2024, the Raw in Chicago right before WrestleMania, it was not like the Monday before Mania. I think it was the Monday before Mania. And that was where we got that amazing 3-way segment with Punk, Rollins, and McIntyre, all kind of going off the cuff. And they have since admitted that as well. That was a phenomenal segment. That was also the same show Rock showed up and beat the fuck out of Cody by his trailer. That was a great Raw from Chicago. And then that same year, they also did SmackDown in Chicago. It was the SmackDown, I think after Clash of the Castle or Clash in whatever. I think it was the Scotland one or whatever. I think that was Clash of the Castle. That was the SmackDown where Jacob Fatu debuted at the end of the show to join the Bloodline. Or Solo Sikoa's Bloodline, whatever. That was a great moment, and that was a great show. That was also where Punk and Heyman reunited very briefly as well, before they kind of became a full-on... That became more of a thing later on. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other great Raws and SmackDowns from Chicago and the time that I've been a fan. But the ones that I immediately think of are those 2, and they both happened within a couple of months of each other in 2024 at WWE's peak. Richie said, Fatal 4-way at SummerSlam, ? Nah, I don't think so. With Gunther and Sammy, Punk and Cody, honestly, I would not complain, but then why would they go so heavily into Gunther versus Aldis? I know, obviously, here's the other thing with that idea. Gunther is not fucking winning. So it's not even like it's unpredictable. It's not like the WWE title match at Mania, had they done it at Mania this year with McIntyre and Fatu. That actually would have felt predictable. If they had done Cody, Orton, McIntyre, and Fatu in a 4-way, that could have gone a lot of different ways. If you do a 4-way at SummerSlam, yes, it gets Gunther and Sammy in a top title match at SummerSlam. The problem with that, though, Sammy's not winning the belt back. Why would you take it off of him in the first place? If you did a 4-way while Sammy was still champion, that sounds more interesting. But Sammy just lost the belt, and Gunther sure as fuck is not winning. And he probably should. He would be losing for like a 3rd or 4th straight time. I think it's a lot easier to put him up against Aldis and have him beat Aldis and get Aldis in the ring finally than to do a 4-way. I know it sounds great on paper, but there's just some booking issues with doing that, I think. I think Punk and Cody at this point is just a lot stronger, and they set it up after last night, so sorry, Sammy. Sorry, Gunther. Millennial Noob, what's going on, man? Thank you for joining. Fernando said, why was Punk winning the WWE Championship in Chicago so important? Just to do something in Chicago. Why not wait to crown Punk at SummerSlam? How many times must we see Punk win titles in Chicago? A couple of things on that. I hated the booking of it, like I said, because it makes Punk look like a dick. Unless they're turning him heel, it was just stupid to also end Sammy's reign that soon, but whatever. A couple things. Punk actually has not won championships in Chicago as much as you would think. I was talking about someone with someone about this on Twitter last night. I was thinking in my head, how many times has he won championships in Chicago? This is only, I think, the third time. I don't know if he won the Ring of Honor title in Chicago back in the day. I don't think he did. So he won the WWE title at Money in the Bank in 2011. That was 15 years ago. His first 3 world title reigns in WWE, the first 3 world heavyweight title reigns, I don't think any of those were in Chicago. He didn't win the ECW championship in Chicago, to my knowledge. He did win the WWE title there in 2011. When he won it back later in the year, that was at MSG. He didn't win another world title for the remainder of this time with the company. His first AEW title win was in Chicago at Double or Nothing. The second one was in Chicago. And then he won the World Heavyweight title twice last year. Neither of those were in Chicago. So realistically, this is only the third time. He has returned in Chicago way more than he has won world titles in Chicago. He returned in Chicago in 2013 at Payback. He returned to AEW in Chicago in 2021. He returned to AEW on Collision in 2023 in Chicago. He returned to WWE, obviously, in Chicago in 2023. At Survivor Series that year. Has he returned in Chicago since then? I think he was already on the roster. I don't think he's made a return in Chicago, but yeah, he's obviously he fought in Chicago and UFC. So anyway, as far as Punk, why did he need to do it in Chicago? Because he was not facing Sammy for the title at SummerSlam. He wasn't. That's not a sexy main event. Punk and Sammy is a big match. They want to do Punk and Cody, bro. They want to do Punk and Cody. And you could have kept the belt. Honestly, I would prefer what they did over keeping the belt on Cody and then just having him face Punk and Night of Champions. I mean, this is all fucking convoluted, but I'd rather have it be this way, where Sammy at least won the championship, albeit briefly, than not having him win it at all. So it could have been worse, honestly. I would actually have it be this way, which is still not ideal. I just wish they had explained this better. I would also rather Punk win the belt like an asshole than Cody, because people would have booed that Cody win. People would not have been happy about that. I mean, people still aren't happy about the Punk one either, but I think people are more accepting of this because there's more Cody fatigue than Punk fatigue. But you also asked about a heel turn for Punk. I fucking hope so, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not getting my hopes up. Nathaniel said, I hope Io beats Liv. I'm done with Liv's title reign. I think we all are. She has not defended it a single time in the 3 months that she's been champion. What a fucking waste. So yes, I mean, there's no guarantee that Io will defend it, but it's time to take the belt off of Liv. This reign has been awful. Fernando said, why does the WWE continue to not trust fresh faces with the world titles? Punk and Roman are both world champions again. I repeat, Punk and Roman are world champions again. I agree, man. Femi should be world champion by SummerSlam. He will not be. Breaker should have already fucking won the world heavyweight title. Fatu should have won the world heavyweight title coming out of WrestleMania. This isn't hard, man. It's not as if you don't have fresh faces. We have Rollins. I mean, you mentioned Roman and Punk, but Cody's going for the belt again probably at SummerSlam. Rollins is going for the belt again at SummerSlam. Give me the new faces as champion. Please. Like the younger guy. I love Sammy, and Sammy's great, but I'm talking to people like Femi and Fatu and Breaker. This is not hard. Daniel said, Samuel made sure to get all the social media content with the title he could because he knew he was losing it soon. He definitely did, and I commend him for that. Nathaniel said, are you excited for Bayley versus Lyra next Monday on Raw, and should Bayley win? It'd be pretty stupid to have Bayley beat her right after turning Lyra heel. That would be dumb. Am I excited for it? No, but I am looking forward to seeing it. Nathaniel said, I'm not sure Becky will have a match at Summer. Becky has not been seen in months, so no, she will not be. I mean, not months. I think she was last seen as part of the Queen of the Ring tournament. That was over a month ago, though. It seems like they have no plans for Becky at all right now, so no, she will not be at SummerSlam. Unless something changes drastically in the next couple of weeks. Eric said, do you think Liv would be as pushed as he did? What does that mean? You talking about, did I ever think Liv would ever be as pushed as much as she has, if that's your question? No, I never thought she would ever be the star that she is currently. I always thought they could be doing more with Liv. I never thought she would be like the focal point of the division as much as she has been the last couple of years, which is great. I'm glad she is. I just never really thought that would happen, especially based on how she was booked previously. Let me go back up here. Bow. Damn, a lot of comments. Appreciate all the activity. I'll get to everything. Just give me time. Johnny said, SummerSlam, Brie Bella and Paige versus Fallon, Henley, and Laney Reed inside an Arby's. Yeah, that goes along with the Fallon Henley story from this past week. Do I think Sheamus will go by his real name in AEW, Fernando West? I do. Something about Stephen Farley is not really overly intense. I actually kind of do hope he changes it, but he'll probably just go by his real name. Sheamus versus... I mean, I don't... You know, here's the thing. Could he call himself Sheamus O'Shaughnessy? That would be fucking awesome. Because he would still be Sheamus, but he would just have a last name. I would love to see that. I don't think that's going to happen, though. It would also just be a lot more badass than fucking Steven. Or whatever his name is. Johnny said, Sheamus versus Darby in a Texas death match would be great. We could take away the Texas death match shit, but sure. Daniel said, don't worry, Graham, texting you the Montez clip. That shit was wild. Yeah, thank you. I heard about it, did not see it, though, so I'll check that out afterward. Nick, what's going on, brother? Great to see Nick here on the chat. He said, hi, my name's Nick. First time here. It is not Nick. Do not lie to me. He said, love what you do, and I love you as well. Hey, Nick, listen, Nick, I love you. It's not your first time here. No need to be shy. I love you right back, Nick. Thank you for joining us here on a Tuesday. Fernando said, when should one of the championship belts get one of the makeovers? What belt will that be? There's no title right now that I say, oh, man, that belt is so ugly, we need a new one. Most of the championships are fine, so in any company. I'm not really feeling that way about any championship in particular right now. Fernando said, is Solo more interesting now more than he's ever been or than he ever was in his current storyline on SmackDown? Yes. Yes, he is. I'm a Solo fan. I'm not super high on Solo as far as like his potential at this point. I really like the way they brought him up into the bloodline, but I feel like even now, that was the most interesting Solo has been in the main roster was when he was initially a bodyguard for the bloodline. Post-Mania 39, it kind of became run-of-the-mill, boring shit with Solo. What he's doing now is interesting, admittedly, and he's fucking funny. So I hope they do turn him babyface and try him out in that role. Dan said, am I reading too much into Punk not having gel? You probably are, Daniel. I know we texted about this, but Punk, there has been plenty of times since he's been back in WWE where he was not gelling his hair. And even when he had like the fucking foof on top and shit, I don't know what you would call that, but I don't think he was gelling it then. You know, he just looks like whatever. He's constantly changing his hairstyle. I like the gel personally, but he's been kind of doing the same sort of messy hairstyle for a while. Fernando said, great Sheamus' career in WWE. I mean, how can it be anything other than like an A-? I mean, I know he was never the guy, so you can't really say like AA+, but like he excelled in most areas that he was put in. And also he got better over time. I think Sheamus is way better now than he ever was in 09, 2010, 2011. He won every title except for the IC Championship. He didn't main event WrestleMania, but he won Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, multiple world championships. Multiple United States championships, dominated the tag team division. So many great matches in the last several years. Some great Mania matches, some great matches in general. Gotten over as well. People really grew to love Sheamus. He could do great as a babyface. He could do great as a heel. He worked with everyone. He beat John Cena in his first pay-per-view match on the main roster in WWE. He worked with and beat on pay-per-view. Big Show, he beat Randy Orton. Him and CM Punk didn't work together a whole lot, but he beat fucking Triple H at Extreme Rules in 2010. He beat, like I said, Cena a whole bunch of times for multiple I think 2 world titles he beat him for. Who else? Who else did he work? Daniel Bryan, he worked with and beat for a world championship. Roman Reigns, he had beaten previously for a world championship. He worked with and beat a lot of people. Probably an A-. I mean, he was never the guy, like I said, and there were points where Sheamus was not interesting, but I would probably go A-, if not an A. Richie said, I saw more hate on Instagram comments than I did on Twitter, but also people were just complaining about Sammy not too long ago. Now these same people are also mad fickle. Yeah, wrestling fans are just fucking, not every wrestling fan, but a lot of fans are just fickle, so I would not read too much into that. There is reason to complain about the Punk thing. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my God, it's amazing, Punk's champion. Like, I love Punk. I'm glad that he's champion. The way they executed it, I still maintain what I said on Twitter yesterday, even before it happened. It's fucking lazy. It is. I mean, you couldn't come up with a more creative way to get the belt back on Punk. Does Punk even need the belt at this point? I mean, come on, man. Stupid. Hardly creative. That's some like Vince McMahon shit. If this happened during the Vince era with literally anyone else, people would be way, way, way more upset. And people are upset, but it would be way, way more. If this was fucking Jey Uso, I mean, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, I know Punk is way better than Jey, but let's be serious here. Rank your top 5 Sheamus matches. I'm going to get to that later. Someone asked a question about Sheamus matches. I'll get to that later. If Sheamus goes to AEW, what matches would I like to see? Literally anything. I want to see him work with and reunite with Claudio at some point. It's been way too long since we've seen them work together. That would be cool. For new opponents, him and Mark Davis, I feel like would beat the fuck out of each other. So that would be cool. Him and Moxley have worked together before. You can have them run that back. Him and Okada would be surreal. Him and Darby, I feel like could have an awesome match. Him and MJF, I know MJF wants that match. That would be cool. Him and Hangman. Kenny's kind of at the end of his rope, but those two, if they can make it happen, would be cool. I don't know if Sheamus ever really worked with Andrade in WWE. That would be a good match, I think. Him and Takeshita would fucking murder each other. I feel like that'd be fun. Who else, man? Who else could he work with in AEW? Those are the main ones. Yeah, those are the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head. If Sheamus goes to... I already answered that. Nathaniel said Kofi and Christian in 2011 had a run as world champion, I think. Yeah, they had the same sort of run as Sammy. I mean, Kofi's lasted 6 months. This Sammy run is way more equivalent to the Christian run in 2011. The first run that he had. That lasted like 2 days. Richie said, Sami Zayn can get a Daniel Bryan-esque storyline if WWE plays their cards right. I agree. He definitely can. Will they actually do that? I don't know. Will it be another 10 years before he wins another world championship? It could be. But yeah, you are definitely right on that, Richie. Daniel said, if you and RJ fell out, who would be more likely to cut a Punk Cabana tirade? It's a good question. Punk Cabana tirade. Maybe me. I'm not even saying I'd be... I feel like that would be more of a negative to be doing something like that and just to come across as bitter. I definitely would have done that maybe 10 years ago. A lot less likely now. But, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess Punk would hold grudges. I hold grudges with people. I try not to. I have a tendency to remember shit, so I almost have no choice but to hold grudges in certain cases. So, I guess probably me. Richard said, I do like that WWE has been changing the title seemingly a bit more, at least for the men. They usually play hot potato more so with the women's championships, and that's always annoyed me. I agree. I think there's a happy medium between having, like, fucking 5-year-long title reigns and then title reigns every other 2 weeks. You know? So I agree with that. I appreciate them changing it up a bit more frequently lately. I loved Muppets from Space. I'm glad you enjoyed it as well, Fernando. Daniel said, oh my God, I remember Muppets from Space. That one also was the guy that got canceled, right? Not Hogan. You met Jeffrey Tambor? Jeffrey Tambor got canceled? Isn't he the mayor from The Grinch? He was also in an episode of Psych. That guy got canceled? I thought he was... I did not know that. He's fucking funny, so I didn't know that he got canceled. How many people get canceled? I can't keep track. The Great Muppet Caper, or The Great Muppets Caper, is my favorite Muppet movie, Fernando said. Easy for me to say. That was, yeah, that's a great movie. All the Muppet movies are great for the most part. Great Muppets Caper. I love Muppets Take Manhattan. I rewatched that a few years ago. That's a great movie. My favorite Muppets movie is the 2011 Muppets movie. That's just such a great classic movie. Way better than it had any right to be. I like the sequel, Muppets Most Wanted. It's not as good, but it's still very good. Muppets from Space is another favorite of mine, like I said. Muppet Treasure Island's a great movie. The Muppets Christmas Carol is a classic, of course. What was the other one? What other one was I thinking of? I think those were it. The Muppet Show they did. I mean, the original Muppet Show is a classic, but the 2015 Office-esque Muppet Show they did is awesome. I think that's still very underrated. I feel like they got a lot of hate and they got canceled, but that show is fucking funny. That show is great. Yeah, those would be the main ones. I know there's been other Muppet movies, but those would be... The original Muppet movie obviously is a classic too. Yeah, those are all good ones though. Who's your favorite Muppet? Mine is Gonzo. Mine would be either Fozzie. I like Kermit. I have a lot of Kermit shit. I think Alexis would compare me to Kermit the most. But I like Fozzie. My favorite would probably be I like Rizzo, but specifically what's his fucking name? Pepe Le King Prawn, okay. He's probably my favorite. I love Pepe Le King Prawn. Animal, I have an Animal Funko Pop over there. I like Animal. Gonzo, I do enjoy. What's his name? Scooter. I feel like I give Scooter vibes. I like Scooter. Yeah, I think if I had to pick, probably Pepe Le King Prawn. He's my favorite, and Fozzie's always a classic too. Does Maxine Dupree now officially have the most dangerous move in pro wrestling? In theory, she's so strong that she managed to put Angelo Dawkins down for a full 3 count. With her low blow, I guess so. Either that or he is really weak. He's very weak downstairs. Let's put it that way. But I think he's also having a 3rd kid. So I guess that can't be completely true. But in canon, you are probably right, Richie, on that. Did Alexis enjoy Supergirl? Yes, she did, Fernando. I enjoyed Supergirl too. I think she liked it even more than I did. But we liked it more than everyone else did. I liked the movie. Didn't love it. Didn't think it was an amazing movie, but I did enjoy it. Richie said the same thing. I was also today years old when I learned that Jeffrey Tambor got canceled. Not that it changes my life or anything. I also did not know that, Richie. So that's you and I both. I didn't do the math. I just made a guess. Johnny said, Fernando, as far as the amount of questions I've gotten for hashtag, I think he's talking about. You might not be too far off on that. It should be like a jelly bean contest. How many questions have been asked on hashtag AskGSM? Give me your best guess, and whoever gets the closest will win. It would take me a long fucking time. I have every document of every questions, of all the questions I've ever gotten for hashtag. Well, actually, that wouldn't be counting the questions I get in the chat. So if you include the chat, I don't know if I would ever be able to find out. It would take me years to do all the math. Fernando said, rank these Canadian wrestlers: Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Kenny Omega, Christian and Cope, Brett and Owen Hart. Are Christian and Cope separate? Or are they, I assume you're talking separate. And they're not together. I'm going to be completely honest. Of all those wrestlers, I feel like Edge would be last. And that's kind of crazy because they're all great. I feel like it would be Edge, he would be last, and then Sami Zayn, and then Kevin Owens. I feel like those would be the bottom 3. Number 1 would be Bret Hart. Christian would probably be above Edge, definitely above Edge, and Sami Zayn, and KO, in my opinion. I feel like Sami Zayn and Christian are kind of comparable. I would go Bret number 1. I would go Owen 2. Kenny 3. Kenny and Owen you can maybe change. Bret definitely 1. Owen 2. Kenny 3. 4 Christian. 5 KO. 6 Sami Zayn. 7 Edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's how I would probably rank them. Johnny said, Braun Breaker and Dirty Dom for MJF. I don't think you would need to trade Breaker and Dom for MJF. I think Breaker and MJF on its own is a comparable trade. He also forgot to include Jericho in the ranking. I would not put Jericho first. I would put Jericho below Owen and Kenny. I would probably put Jericho maybe 4th, maybe 3rd above Kenny. Probably just because Jericho's had a more complete career. Not current Jericho, but all time, I would probably say that would be accurate. Nick said, do you have anyone in this current roster that you would really like to be pushed, or would you like to see go to a different company, or just simply give it up? Give it up, definitely. I mean, there's definitely people, I won't single anyone. Jericho's got to fucking retire. I mean, you're talking WWE. I love Jericho, but like, that guy, it's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, you're like 55, 56, give it up. Unless you're going to go back to WWE for a quick nostalgia run, give it the fuck up. Thankfully, Goldberg retired, and, that's not really a problem anymore. But people I would like to see get pushed, Chad Gable. We're seeing it right now. Chad Gable's great. I want to see them do more with him. Ilya fucking Dragunov. I mean, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Push Ilya Dragunov. Fatu, they should be doing more with. Braun Breaker, they should be doing more with. There's a whole bunch of people you could say that for. Becky, what happened with her? Lyra, I'm kind of glad they're trying to heat her back up again because she's great. Chelsea, they're now doing more with on SmackDown, which is nice to see. I like Chelsea a lot. EO obviously is getting pushed, which is great. She deserves it. Yeah, those would be the main ones. I'm sure there's other people. Sammy won the title for a week, but it's better than not winning it at all. But yeah, those would probably be the main people. Joe Hendry, I would like to see them do more with. Javon, you can't push everyone at once. That's also part of the problem. It's like Penta's getting a great push, but you can't give everyone the Penta push. Richie said the hijack Raw in Chicago in 2014 ended up being a really good show. The crowd completely failed to do whatever it was that they were trying to do, but having Heyman come out at the start of the show was smart. Yeah, that was when he walked out to Punk's theme. That was a memorable show. I remember that. They also did an angle with like Daniel Bryan, and I think the Authority on that show, or him getting beat up by Triple H, if I'm not mistaken. Having Punk, like, you know, Punk wasn't on that show. He was probably going to return on that show had he come to better terms with the company, but he didn't. So Heyman came out instead and, came out to Punk's music. That was a great segment. Those are the two things I remember most from that show, but that was a very memorable Chicago Raw. Johnny said, Rhea for Britt. You would... Wait. Oh, I was going to say Rhea for just Britt would be fucking crazy. If you were to make an actual trade, Rhea for Britt, Anna, Camille, Rosa, and cash considerations, I still don't think that would be comparable. If you were to trade those four women are not worth Rhea. I'm sorry, but they're not. Britt is not even remotely close to Rhea's level. Anna Jay is not either. Camille, they have just no use for. And Thunder Rosa, no. I like Thunder Rosa, but no. Those four women, even those women alone, like you would have to throw in Jamie Hayter or like Mercedes, maybe. Even then, Rhea's worth more than all. Honestly, I don't know what the cash considerations would be, but those four women do not even amount to Rhea's value alone, or collectively rather, in my opinion. Fernando said, "Where do you see Gunther around this time next year?" I have no idea. I don't know where any of these people are going to be next year. I mean, this booking is so inconsistent. I have no idea. Gunther will be fine. Gunther will probably win another championship at some point. I don't know what that would be. It could be a fucking mid-card belt. I have no idea. I could see him as United States champion at this time next year. It's too soon to say. Again, Johnny's saying Gunther for Wardlow and others. Who the fuck is others? Gunther is not being traded for Wardlow, who was injury prone and just he's cooked at this point. Absolutely not. Unless those cash considerations includes $5 million, then absolutely not. That is a good one, Johnny. I agree with Fernando on that. Richie said, also not sure if this was mentioned. Oh, by the way, if you guys haven't liked the video yet and you're watching live, please do so. Would appreciate it. Helps the video a lot. Reminder to do that. Please like the video. Anyway, Richie said, also not sure if this was mentioned. Might have missed it. But could Edge and Mankind be among, if not the best of the transitional champions in pro wrestling? I did not mention those. Mankind, definitely. Mankind is... Yeah. So, again, it goes back to the Darby thing. Transitional, to me, means getting the belt off of this person to put on that person. With Mankind, if you're talking about early 99, he won the belt from The Rock, but he lost it right back to The Rock. So that, to me, is like a Darby run. If you want to put it in best short runs, I mean, I don't even remember anything about Mankind's fucking run as champion. It was all about the moment. Darby had an amazing run. Mankind did not. He had a great moment. I don't know if it was a great run. I wouldn't consider Mankind... Again, same thing with Edge. If you're talking Edge, like, you transition the belt off of Cena to put on someone else. Edge wasn't even a transitional champion. Like, he had a short run. He lost it right back to Edge or Cena a couple of weeks later at the Rumble in 06. It was a memorable run because he had, like, the live sex celebration. I feel like he defended the belt on Raw against Ric Flair in a TLC match. I might be completely making that up. But yeah, I don't know if those would be transitional champions, like I said, because those people lost the belt right back to the same person. Transitional to me, as I said earlier, would be like when The Miz won the belt from McIntyre in 2011 and then lost it to Bobby like a week later. Sami Zayn, to me, is the perfect transitional champion. He only held it for a week, but he won it in a great match. He made the most of it while he was champion by fucking doing all the social media shit, and then he lost in a great match to two different people. Won it from Cody, pinned Cody too, lost it to Punk. That to me is a transitional run. I don't know if Edge and Mankind would be considered transitional runs, at least by my definition. Fernando said, what's Tonga's ceiling on SmackDown? Who's Tonga? Tonga Loa? Tonga Loa's gone. We're talking Tonga? Talatonga? Who the fuck are we talking about? I don't really think their ceilings are all that high. Mid-card at most, that's about it. For any of them. Especially Tonga Loa's gone, so that's not even worth speculating about. Fernando said, has WWE Creative done a good job of making you care enough about Trick versus Carmelo? Have they done enough? No. They should be doing a better job of making people care about it. I do care about it because I know their history, and I like both guys. Could they be doing more to make it a bigger deal? Yes. Richie said, thoughts on Punk recreating his iconic refrigerator photo from... Oh, what the fuck? Did he? Yo, hold on. When was this? I know he blew the kiss. On when he left Raw last night. It's got to be on Instagram because he's not on Twitter. He fucking did, bro. It's the first thing I see on Instagram. Holy shit. That is hilarious. There's a Mindy's thing in there. Oh my God, that is fucking awesome. I'm just seeing this now. He put that up 14 hours ago. He put that up fucking last night. How did I not see that on Twitter this morning? So he's got, the Mindy's thing he bought on the way back. He fucking did that for the joke. So in his fridge, he also has a bunch of Pepsis. That is amazing. I'm so happy he recreated that photo. Almost 15 years to the day. That is fucking amazing. Wow. I love that he did that. I've told this story before, but I did that with all of my diplomas. So when I graduated high school in 2013, I did that with my high school diploma. When I graduated college in 2017, I did that with my college diploma. And then when I got my master's 2 years after that, I did that with my grad diploma too. And I took pictures of all of them. And I posted all of them at each point, but I also put them together in a compilation and showed it to Punk when I met him for the first and only time in 2019. He thought it was the coolest thing. And I mentioned it again to him. He probably didn't remember that I did that. It was over the phone that I interviewed him a few years later. And he also complimented me on doing that. He thought it was really cool. So, yeah, fucking love that he did that. That is incredible. Fernando said, why does Trick Williams have a mouthpiece? That rapper is as needed as Stone Cold. Your wording is weird, but you're saying that rapper is as needed as Stone Cold needed the $1 Million Man. You're talking about Little Yachty. He doesn't need a mouthpiece. But honestly, Little Yachty was annoying when they first brought him in, but I thought that was the point because he was a heel. I think he adds to Trick's act. I think he's become, likable. So he doesn't know. Trick does not need the mouthpiece, but he's also not doing all the promo talking for Trick. It's different than $1 Million Man, who was doing the talking for Stone Cold, who did not need it. This is different. This is also way more over than $1 Million Man with Stone Cold. Nathaniel said, yeah, I don't see Punk going to WrestleMania as champion. Not sure if it needs to happen. Do you agree? It does not need to happen, and I don't think he makes it to Mania as champion, nor do I think he needs to. We need some other fresh faces holding the championship before then. Fernando said, who will have more success outside of WWE, Sheamus or The New Day? Good question. I'm going to say New Day because I feel like New Day can do more outside of WWE with conventions and stuff. Sheamus, I feel like, will strictly be a wrestling guy. Just go to AEW. As far as accomplishments, Sheamus. I feel like Sheamus could win more titles in AEW. The New Day can win the tag titles in AEW, but I feel like they'll clean up on the convention scene. They could do more video game stuff. Johnny said, Sheamus led to the Yes Movement getting bigger. In 2012, you are correct. Eric said, what were you saying about Aaron Solo and Fallon Henley? I was reciting the story that Cody Rhodes told about Aaron Solo and Fallon Henley on Cody's podcast last week, which was really funny. Noel, what's going on, brother? He said, do you see Oba pulling double duty at SummerSlam? No. If he was, I feel like that would have already been established. Johnny said, Sheamus versus Mark Briscoe. I would like to see that. That'd be fun. I feel like they'd beat the fuck out of each other. Daniel said, when Christian lost the belt in 2 days taping-wise, because it was, in storyline, it was 5 days. But yeah, they taped on Tuesdays at that point. So really, it was only a 48-hour run. He said it turned into one of the best runs of his career. Let's see the Sammy thing play out because this oddly enough fits his current character. It does fit his current character. You are right. We have to see it play out. It's less about Sammy losing the belt in 9 days, which sucks. To me, it's more about Punk just randomly coming back and winning the belt. I mean, that is my bigger issue. I'm not going to sit here and Sammy got buried. I'm just glad Sammy won the fucking belt. You know, I think people are kind of putting their frustration in weird areas. It's less about Sammy and way more so the way that they had Punk win it. That was my problem. But we'll see where it goes, like you said. And the match was great. Sheamus versus Kyle O'Reilly in a strikes-only match. I'm all set on that. Sheamus and Jake something. Yeah, that'd be cool. Sheamus and Adam Cope got history and could have a good story in AEW. I don't need to see that again. They had one match in WWE that was great. We don't need an Adam Cope and Sheamus feud. Adam Copeland will probably be done in the next year or so. We don't need one of his remaining matches wasted on someone he already worked with a few years ago. Fernando said, and also Sheamus for that matter too. Fernando said, can Fatal Influence become a bigger women's faction than Damage Control ever was? You've asked this before. Can they? Yeah, but Damage Control, for as badly booked as they were, they had a lot of success. They won the tag titles multiple times. They had the women's world title in their ranking. I mean, that was also how Io Sky debuted on the main roster. I mean, obviously Dakota Kai didn't go anywhere. Kairi Sane didn't go anywhere, but it did give us the career of Io on the main roster. What will Fatal Influence give us? JC Jane is good. Will Fallon be successful on her own? Will Lainey Reed pan out? It's way too early to say. Nathaniel has seen a lot of the Muppet movies. Have I seen the Muppets movie with Kermit in prison? That was the 2014 Muppets Most Wanted. I did see that in theaters. I enjoyed it, but the first one, the one before that in 2011 was better. Fernando said, more adorable, Grogu or Muppets Babies? Definitely Grogu. I was never the biggest Muppets Babies fan. They're cute, but I never really watched the show all that much. I was never a big Muppets Babies fan. Nathaniel said, does Fozzie sound like Bert from Sesame Street? I can see it. Is it the same voice? I don't know. Angelo can't have a fourth kid now. Well, apparently not after that low blow cost him the win last night. Nathaniel said, Graham, how would you feel if Christian and Cope got in the Hall of Fame as a tag team if there's a tag team Hall of Fame? There is no tag team Hall of Fame, but can I see them getting inducted as a team? Absolutely. I mean, they are one of the greatest teams of all time. Christian realistically belongs in there on his own. I guess you could put him in on his own and as a team. They probably wouldn't do both. But yeah, no, they're absolutely Hall of Fame worthy as a team and individually. But Edge is already in there. What are your thoughts on the tag titles changing hands again? I could not give a fuck. And also my bigger thing is that I really want the Vision to disband, and they just went back on that by putting the belts right back on them. Right back on Breaker in theory. Who gives a shit? There's also no division, so who cares? Nathaniel said, I think Chad Gable should win the gauntlet to face Penta at SummerSlam. Otherwise, what are they doing with Chad? I agree. Chad is the only acceptable winner of that gauntlet next Monday on Raw. I think you spelled that wrong, Fernando. We said, is Grinder the most forgettable WWE champion ever? If you mean Jinder, I don't think the Grinder app ever held the WWE title. Is Jinder Mahal the most forgettable WWE champion? He's actually not. People still talk about that run. It was a fucking awful run, and Jinder tried, but the matches weren't that great, and it didn't elevate him at all after it was over. Really, it just was a waste of time that killed SmackDown for like 6 months. But no, people still talk about Jinder as champion for right or wrong reasons. Literally, the most forgettable champion ever has to be someone like a Shawn Stasiak. I mean, if you were to list out all the WWE champions dating back to 1963, would most people remember Shawn Stasiak? Probably not. Probably not. So Shawn Stasiak for the WWE title itself. And not like the World Heavyweight title or whatever. It would have to be, I mean, it could end up being Sammy. I mean, not right now, obviously, but down the road, maybe people would forget that Sammy had won the belt. Definitely Shawn Stasiak. Definitely, who else had a forgettable WWE title run? I'm trying to think, even in like the 2000s, you know? Let me look real quick. That's a good question. Let me look. Obviously Andre. People forget that Andre was WWE champion because it lasted all of 45 seconds. So I would put Andre on that list of forgettable WWE champions. Buddy Rogers probably, but also just because he was the first and he's not as talked about as much as other people. Bruno was memorable. Ivan Koloff held it for like 3 weeks. So Ivan Koloff would be a forgettable WWE champion. I mentioned Sean Stasiak. Definitely not Bob Backlund. I mean, yeah, his last run with the belt in 94, that lasted 2 days, and sure. But not his initial run. Iron Sheik, even though it was a short run, people I still think remember that because he was the one that Hogan beat for the WWE title in 84. Andre, I mentioned. Savage, Slaughter, Warrior, all memorable. Undertaker. Flair, no. Yokozuna, no. Diesel, Psycho Sid. Sid's more forgettable, but not. He also held it twice. But he's not completely forgettable. Also, since he was in a main event of Mania. You know who would be one of the most forgettable WWE champions? Kane. He only held it for a day. And he did win world titles after that, but never the WWE Championship again. So Kane is also one of the most forgettable WWE champions of all time. Mr. McMahon, I think people forget, was a former WWE champion. So he's a very forgettable WWE champion. Big Show, I feel like people forget that he was WWE champion in 99. He also won it in like 02 from Brock. So he's not the most forgettable, but he would be up there. Let's see. Rock, Triple H, obviously not forgettable. Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, Jericho, no. Because I think the Undisputed title thing was memorable enough. Big Show, Angle, Brock, Eddie, JBL, Edge, RVD, I feel like is not the most forgettable, but he only held it for like 3 weeks because he fucked himself over by getting arrested. That was the only time he ever held that belt. So that was pretty forgettable of the modern runs, and even that was 20 years ago. Rey Mysterio has to be forgettable. He held it for a fucking night in 2011. People remember that for how bad it was, so still forgettable though. A lot of Batistas and Randys and Cenas in like the late 2000s. Miz had a decent run. Punk, Ray, Del Rio, Rock, Bryan, Orton, Bryan, Brock, Rollins, Roman, Sheamus. Some of these reigns were not great, but they were more memorable than the other ones I mentioned earlier. Bray Wyatt, unfortunately, had kind of a forgettable run. It was a great moment when he won it, but he lost it right afterwards to Orton. And he would go on to win the Universal Championship. But that was the one and only WWE title reign that he had. Kofi's, I feel like, would be remembered for Kofi Mania. Brock, I hate to say it, but Big E, honestly, might end up being forgettable because he's not active anymore. He did hold it for several months, but it wasn't like an overly strong run. And that's really about it. So, yeah, those to me would be the most forgettable WWE title runs of all time. Let's see. What else are you guys saying here in the chat? Daniel said, yeah, Jeffrey Tambor had SA allegations, did not know that, from a few members of the transition community, which was ironic given the show he was on and he had to leave at the time. Did not know that. That is news to me. Nathaniel said, yeah, Edge defended the championship against Ric Flair, and TLC Charlotte was in the front row. Oh, Charlotte, his daughter, was in the front row. Interesting. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Fernando, no love for Bob Backlund as a transitional champion. Oh, you're right. Yeah, Bob Backlund was definitely a transitional champion. You are right. When he beat Brett for it and lost to Diesel. Definitely the definition of a transitional champion. I don't know if he's the best transitional champion, but that he definitely was a transitional champion. Beating Bret Hart at Survivor Series and lost it a week later to Diesel at Madison Square Garden. Was it even a week later? I feel like it was like a few days later. Fernanda was talking about the Tonga that has history with Finn and, let me backtrack here. Bon Quivy. Oh, we got Bon Quivy in the chat. Bon Quivy, what's going on, brother? We love Bon Quivy. We don't like fucking Trevor. Trevor's a piece of shit. If Trevor ever pops up here in the chat, we will have words for fucking Trevor. I feel bad for not the Trevor, but a Trevor that might be watching this thinking, why does he have an issue with me? Yeah, you're talking about Tamatanga, Fernando. Yeah, not a very high ceiling. Nathaniel said, what is your favorite Copeland and Christian matches in AW so far? Well, they haven't had many of them. The first one with FTR was great. The second one was also really good. So probably either of those. And the first one in All Out last year, they've had 3. They were all very good. The one with the dogs was fine. Am I going for my PhD next? Johnny asked. No. Could it be a possibility down the road? Maybe, just to say why not, but probably not. Fernando said, Cody's a terrible friend. If maybe Aaron Solo wanted that to be private, what if RJ told something personal about you and Alexis to the press? Not the same thing, because the story that he told was kind of just like, I really don't think that story is that big of a deal. Also, Alexis is my girlfriend. Fallon Henley is not with Aaron Solo. If you're offended by Cody telling that story about Aaron Solo, I would just say get over it. It really is not that big of a deal. It was a fucking funny story. And Aaron Solo, I mean, he kind of came across like a loser in that situation, but, I mean, you should probably own that. Also, it was 5 years ago. Who gives a shit? Bon Quivy said, hi, Graham, and hi, chat. Hello, Bon Quivy. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Stan, I said Sean Stasiak. I meant to say Stan. Respect to Stan Stasiak, though. Thank you, Bon Quivy, for the correction. Johnny said, how about Sheamus versus Chris Jericho? Jericho wants revenge for the 2012 Rumble. Absolutely fucking not. I do not need to see that match again. Fernando said, who can benefit from joining Fatal Influence if WWE wanted to expand the faction? I feel like Blake Monroe having her own group would be interesting. JC Jane to me is not a headliner. She's just not. She wasn't to me even in NXT. She has improved, but I still don't see it in JC as much as I do someone like a JC or a Blake. So I would say Blake and then just move JC down to like a mid-tier part of the faction. If you were to add more members, which I probably would not. Richie said, Jinder's run was goated. Please stop the hindering. No, I will not. Jinder's run was terrible. I know you had a positive interaction, Richie, with Jinder, and Jinder was a nice guy. I've met Jinder before. He is a nice guy. His run still sucked. I'm sorry. There is a reason why they never had him sniff the WWE title scene ever again after that. As literally the second it was over. Bon Quivy said, Grinder as WWE champ, did he mean Darren Young? Yeah. I think he meant Jinder, but could have been talking about Darren Young, perhaps. Johnny cares big time about the Raw Tag Team division. Oh, so you're the one person. Fernando said, if you're Johnny Gargano and you see Ciampa doing things with Jericho and you're doing whatever the hell you're doing on SmackDown, how are you feeling about your career? Probably not very good, Fernando. Probably not very good. I would be counting down the days until my contract was expiring if I was Johnny Gargano. Did I like Jinder's WWE title reign? Nathaniel, I thought I made this clear. I did not. I thought it sucked. Jeff Hardy was WWE champion in 2008. Yes, he was. But I feel like more people remember that run, if only for the moment of him winning it. So I wouldn't say that was a forgettable. It wasn't. The run itself was forgettable. But he himself, is he a forgettable WWE champion? I wouldn't say that, because him winning it at the Armageddon 08 show is extremely memorable. And that match was great and the moment was amazing. Fernando said, what are your thoughts on PlayStation canceling physical media? There's a lot of backlash from customers about it. It was inevitable. I think it's dumb. I do think physical media should always exist in some form or fashion, because you can't always count on the digital shit being there. I mean, games could get removed, edited, censored. I mean, you could lose your system and that game is gone for good. But I know they're doing it to make more space for the actual system within the system, to remove the disk drive. You don't have that anymore. I think it's garbage, but it was inevitable. I'm not surprised by it, but I'm not a fan. Eric said, Sean Spears or Miles Bourne, who will be the more forgettable North American champion? Eric. Is that a real question? Are you fucking kidding me? Miles Bourne has been champion for at least 5 months, and he's had a great run. Some really good matches with Ethan Page, Johnny Gargano, Tavion Heights, members of Dark State. Come on. Sean Spears was champion for like 3 weeks. Sean Spears will have a way more forgettable run as North American champion. Eric said Darby. What about Darby? You said, I mean, I don't think I would consider Darby's run transitional. It was short. Transition, I can't explain this enough. I'm going to say this again. Transitional to me means to take the belt off of one person and to put it on the other, a la Sami Zayn. Darby, like Edge and Mankind, lost it and then lost it, or won it and then lost it back to the same person they beat it for. To me, that is not transitional. Maybe I've described it that way in the past, but thinking about it more, that is not, to me personally, I would not consider that transitional. That Bon Quivy would be a transitional run. Mankind, when he beat Stone Cold at SummerSlam and then lost it to Triple H and Raw because Steve didn't want to put Hunter over, which I think is true, by the way. I have heard that. That would be, to me, a transitional reign, yes. Is he the best transitional champion of all time? No. I don't really remember that Mankind win as much. Not as much as I do the one earlier on from 99 against The Rock. Then he lost it immediately. You are right, though. That was transitional. Or Daniel Bryan even. Daniel Bryan winning the title from Cena at SummerSlam 2013. Who lost it to Orton via a cash-in. They didn't want to have Orton cash in on Cena, which, I mean, it wasn't like, oh, we can't have Cena lose to Orton. It was more so like, if we have Orton cash in on Bryan, it will turn Orton heel and will maximize the heat. Whereas if Orton cashed in on Cena, people would have cheered that. Would I want to see Cody win the belt back later this year or next year? He will win the belt back at some point. Do I want to see it anytime soon? No, he probably will, though. Bon Quivy, he said, do you think the current older main event era are gatekeeping and are holding the younger ones down? As much as you think, no. But in a way, do I think they're politicking? Yes. I do think there is a little bit of that going on. Specifically with people like Roman. I feel like Punk's willing to put people over. Maybe there is some politicking going on there with Punk and probably Cody. Rollins probably to an extent. Definitely Roman above anyone else. Roman does not want to give up his spot to an Oba or a Breaker or whoever. Trust me. Fernando, unless they're a member of their own family. Fernando said, will Drew beating Cody be remembered more than Sammy beating Cody? No. Sammy beating Cody will be remembered more than Drew beating Cody on a random SmackDown. I honestly kind of forgot Drew was even champion. I was thinking about that this morning, that Drew was even champion earlier this year. Sammy won the title on a pay-per-view. It was a much better match. And I'm glad Drew won the belt. He held the belt for a lot longer than Sammy, but I still think Sammy's reign, for as short as it was, for that moment alone in Saudi, maybe it's because it just happened, will be remembered more than Drew beating Cody. Nathaniel said, man, imagine if Sammy does the same thing Johnny Gargano does on SmackDown, how would you feel? I would think that's fucking awful. I've heard people say that. That would be terrible. Can Gargano and Candice LeRae ever recover, Richie said. I think they can. In WWE, maybe not. I feel like their goose is cooked. It was kind of already cooked anyway. This will just label them as losers. I think there is a valiant effort there that can be had by making Gargano like a resilient Johnny Wrestling babyface. I don't know if it'll work. They haven't really tried with him on his own as far as that goes. I think he is cooked. I think he's cooked. I think he's going to have to leave. Candice, I feel like she can't ever recover. She's been labeled as a loser for so long. And Candice I like, but there are way more women on both brands I would rather see pushed over Candice. That's just a fact. It's kind of been the case really forever. Her best chances of success would have been like 6 or 7 years ago. 6, 7. Gargano could maybe recover, but it's very, very slim. The damage has been done. Should Spears go back to being perfect 10? Hey, why the fuck not? You know, the culling shit served its purpose. It's over. He can be a babyface now. Maybe he can get that shit over again. It's a short-lived gimmick anyway, but why the fuck not? Richie said, can we see TNA potentially re-sign Mike Santana quietly, of course, and make a surprise return at some point? I don't think so. I think Santana's gone. What would even be the point? You know, Santana's now a 2-time TNA World Champion. He beat and faced everyone really that company has to offer. Nemeth, Moose, Edwards, anyone they have left, even including people that aren't there anymore. Santana, I think in WWE was always going to happen. I think TNA was just kind of a minor speed bump on the road. I love the fact that he went to TNA. He had a great run in TNA. It built up his single stock considerably. But really, what would be the point of him staying? You know, having more matches with Nemeth and Moose and Edwards. Like, he's already faced and beaten all these people. Santana has a much higher ceiling in NXT, and his contract's up. He really, I think that like what you're describing already happened. Like his contract was up late last year. He re-signed late last year. He kind of gave it another 6 months, and he had the run that he should have. Now that they've, I'll get to that in a second. Now that they've told that story, and they've done that, there's no reason to go back to that. So I think he's gone. Richie said, push one, fire one, turn one. Bon Quivy, Trevor, love Ziggler. Push Bon Quivy, because we love Bon Quivy. Shout out to Bon Quivy. Fire Trevor, because fuck him. I know Trevor, I see, what's his name? Someone changed their name to Trevor Barry's WrestleRant. We're talking about Eric here. Eric, I love you, but Trevor's a fucking asshole. He said, what did I do to you? Trevor, I know that's not the real Trevor because I could see your profile picture and it's actually Eric. So it doesn't work as well. You've done this before. Fuck Trevor, though. In Love Ziggler, I would repackage. I would turn him probably heel because we love him so much, he's going to have to go heel eventually. Fernando said, do you believe Cena when he said that he wanted Theory to turn babyface? No. I think he was out to bury Theory from the get-go. That is my conspiracy theory. Do I think that Cena actually saw money in Theory? I don't. If he did, he would not have fucking buried him the way that he did. Bon Quivy said, do you think... And also, he would have... Of course he wanted him to turn face because he buried him as a heel. So what did he have left to do as a heel? Bon Quivy said, do you think we will hear stories of Roman politicking down the road? You're kind of already hearing that now. So, yes, and, I mean, it's not really surprising because we've heard... I mean, he's not Hogan backstage. Do I think Roman likes his spot and likes where the bloodline is at? Yes. Bro, we're hearing stories that Roman wanted to extend his run already from when he was champion the last time. I mean, come on. Eric/Trevor said, damn, I'm so mad it can't change my picture. Yeah, we know it's you, Eric, but I do appreciate the effort, though. I appreciate the attempt. Candace laboring, Fernando said. Nathaniel said, where would you rank Edge's spear? I would rank it 10 or 9. I mean, nowhere near the top. Goldberg's spear is better. Roman's spear is better. Breaker's spear is better. There's many more spears that are better than Edge's. Although Edge's is iconic because he's synonymous with it. Fernando said, what's Santana's ceiling on the main roster? Can he become world champion? No. Do I think he'd make a great world champion? Yes. Do I think WWE would actually push him towards the top title scene? Absolutely not. I just cannot see Mike Santana in there facing or beating someone like a Cody or a Roman. And I'm not saying it's, not believable. I'm saying WWE just wouldn't do that. What's the ceiling of the main roster? Probably mid-card. I think that's as high as he goes. Jey Uso has the best spear, Richie said. Don't you dare say that, Richie. Don't you dare be speaking lie. Oh, I mean, he did say in parentheses, said no one ever, so there you go. Johnny said, your favorite fighter, Conor McGregor, is fighting this weekend. He's not my favorite fighter. He's not my least favorite fighter. I don't really, in 2026, I don't really care about Conor McGregor. I think it's cool he's coming out of retirement. I forgot it was this weekend, though. I remember the announcement happening during the Carano Rousey fight night a few months ago. I was with RJ and the news broke and he told me about it. I thought it was cool. I'm not going to watch it, but that is cool. I'll probably see the clips on Twitter. Nathaniel said, I think Edge's spear is better than Jay's spear. I mean, yeah. My spear is better than Jey Uso's spear. Eric said, push fire champion one. Trevor, current bully right here, Jey Uso. You're putting me here in a pickle, Eric. He changed his name back to just his regular name because he can't change your picture. I would champion Jey Uso. I would... Oof. Who do I dislike more, Trevor or Bully Ray? Man, I don't know. I'm going to say push Bully Ray and fire Trevor because I fucking hate Trevor. I don't know if I hate Bully Ray that much. His opinions are terrible, but I'd rather push him and fire Trevor. It's just the fact. Does Petey Williams have the best pile driver of all time? No, I don't think so. He created the Canadian Destroyer, did he not? Is it the best ever? Probably not. Yeah, picking Bully or Trevor is rough. I agree, Richie. Bon Quivy's a big fan of Richie, he says. Me too. Fernando said, what's Damian Priest's ceiling on AAA? Probably the fucking AAA title because, I mean, he's a bigger star than anyone on that roster aside from Vikingo, right? And El Grande Americano. I think they might, I could see them turning Priest heel in AAA. You're not going to turn him heel in AAA and keep him a babyface on SmackDown. But yeah, I mean, Priest has a high ceiling in AAA. He's a former world heavyweight fucking champion, so, I mean, why not? I don't think he should win the belt before El Grande Americano, though. Him beating Dominic would make sense, though, because they do have history in Judgment Day. But Priest should not be winning that belt before Americano does. Who is the best super kick today, Johnny asked. I don't know. It's such a bastardized move. It would probably be someone from AEW. And no, it's not the Young Bucks. I don't know who it would be. I'd have to really think about it. Push Bully Ray Bonquivy said, yeah, I'm going to have to push him because we fucking hate Trevor that much. Trevor's a piece of shit, bro. Johnny said, what do you love more, Domino's or Pizza Hut? Domino's. I don't get Pizza Hut. I think I've gone Pizza Hut when I've had to. I don't not like Pizza Hut. I'm just never really near. If I'm near a Pizza Hut, I'm probably near a real pizza joint. Domino's has better deals, I think. And two, I like Domino's because we like to have it when we watch Christmas with the Cranks every year. I think we did Christmas with the Cranks Day on hashtag AskGSM Day last year on December 23rd. My brother and I will always watch that movie with Domino's. We might get Domino's at other points during the year, but usually it's on December 23rd. So I'm going to go Domino's over Pizza Hut. What is the coolest modern day finisher? There's definitely one that I'm not thinking of. I mean, I still love End of Days from Bishop Dyer, a.k.a. Baron Corbin. Best modern day finisher? The Ataxia from Theory is great. He just never fucking wins with it. There is an answer there. I don't know what it is. Who is the best modern finisher? I feel like it's someone in AEW that I'm not thinking of. Who is a cool fucking finisher? That girl Bailey Humphrey from LFG, I forgot her name, Maya Lockwood or whatever. She's on NXT now. She had a pretty good finisher on that show. There's definitely someone that has a great finisher that I'm just not thinking of. I don't remember. Fernando said, did you see the Flash live action movie? If you did, do you understand the Eric Stoltz Back to the Future joke? I did watch. Are you talking about the 2023 movie? I did see it. I don't remember that. I don't remember that reference because I don't remember much of the movie. So I know the Eric Stoltz Back to the Future. Like, I get the story there, but the reference they made in the movie, I don't remember. I don't remember a whole lot about the movie, like I said. Although I did remember enjoying it, actually. Richie said, push, fire, and turn. Trevor, Logan Paul, Jake Paul. Push Logan Paul, turn Jake Paul. No. I don't know. We'll say push Logan Paul, turn Jake Paul, fire Trevor because he's a piece of shit. I know Logan Paul and Jake Paul are assholes. I know Logan Paul had his whole issue in the forest. But guess what? So did Trevor. Fuck him. Who do I think is plateaued as a performer? Bon Quivy asked. Trick Williams needs to improve in the ring. I feel like he's kind of plateaued. Liv Morgan, I feel like, is kind of plateauing. She's kind of regressed a little bit since she came back. I feel like she may have plateaued, especially on the mic. Trick, Liv, there's other people. Those are the two that come to mind right now. Raquel, I haven't really seen a whole lot of progress. I mean, she had a great year last year. Okay, she hasn't really been all that interesting in like 6 or 7 months. Maybe Raquel. I love Christmas of the Cranks. Fernando said, yeah, it's one of my favorite bad movies of all time. What food do I usually eat during the Super Bowl? Johnny asked. Wings, chips, stuffed breads, maybe. Definitely wings, though. And it's usually desserts like cookies and brownies and stuff like that. Jey Uso's spear is awful. Jeff Harvey. I'm a Jeff Harvey fan. Eric said, Richie said no one ever. Nathaniel said, I'm seeing Spider-Man Brand New Day on August 4th with a friend. Yeah, I don't know when I'm seeing it. If I go to SummerSlam, I have to leave on Thursday. I might have to see it by myself. I don't know. I'm not going to have time. I don't think I'll have time over SummerSlam weekend. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I don't know. Johnny said Hidden Blade might be my favorite AEW finisher. Oh, Ospreay's? That's a good finisher. That's a good finisher. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely up there. He hits it. It looks devastating. When you don't kick out of it 20 times, it's definitely devastating. Soul Snatcher is the best modern finisher. It is when she's not botching it. That is a great finisher. She just can't fucking ruin it. The Flash movie was so bad, and I was actually excited for it. I didn't actually think it was awful. It was not great, but I actually did not think it was awful. Do I think AEW has better pay-per-views than WWE? Currently, yes, I do. How did I feel about LA Knight's promo last night, Bon Quivy asked. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. Is it going to lead anywhere? I don't think it will, because this is WWE, but I did like the promo. What is Eric Stoltz Back to the Future story? You don't know it. I don't know who Eric Stoltz is. What is he famous for? Eric Stoltz was supposed to be Marty McFly. Eric Stoltz is in other shit. He was supposed to be in Michael J. Fox's role in Back to the Future. They shot most of the movie with him as Marty, and then they were like, yeah, this ain't working. And they fired him and put Michael in there instead, and it obviously clicked. Who has the best powerbomb today? I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Maybe someone else can answer that question. What's your favorite pay-per-view and PLE snack? Fernando asked. Great question. For me, it's chips. I'm a chips guy. I like Lay's and Lay's salt and vinegar. That's always been a classic of mine. Utz. I'm an Utz Ridge fan. So Lay's and Utz I like. That's probably my favorite pay-per-view snack. Ben & Jerry's / Oreo ice cream, also among my favorites. That's my favorite ice cream, so I like having that during a pay-per-view. Got to throw a Coke in there, of course, as well. What else? Sometimes we'll order pizza. Sometimes Alexis will make pizza. It's usually chips. Cookies / Oreos sometimes, maybe. Sometimes I'll get food for a pay-per-view. Like I'll get a chicken sandwich, like a chicken parm or something. That's always great. Girl Scout cookies are clutch. Those are amazing. Don't have those often because I only buy like 1 or 2 boxes a year. Those are great though. Hey, Goldfish, classic. Cheez-Its, classic. That's the main stuff, I think, though. That would be the main stuff. No bowl of frosted yeets, Richie said. No, I have to. I'm afraid not. They're too annoying. Nathaniel said, I think Christian has a great spear. Edge's spear is iconic, and I like Batista's spear also. Batista's spear is memorable. Not the best by any means, but it was memorable. I usually eat pizza and wings during the Super Bowl. That's usually the go-to snack there, Johnny. Do you regret any of your interviews, Bon Quivy asked? I've answered this before. Do I regret any of them? No. Do I think some of them should have gone better? Yes. The Bully Ray ones are the 2 ones I've mentioned the most in recent years because, I mean, the first one I did not like. The second one I also did not like. He came across kind of unlikable. I didn't really like our chemistry at all. I don't know if I regret those. I'm glad I did it. I wanted to interview Bubba Ray for the longest time. I was excited the first time I got to talk to him, and then it went like, I'm like, what the fuck was this? It was not a great interview, really at all, I didn't think. Johnny said, is the Bulldog Choke the best submission finisher today? I don't know. I don't think so. I like Lay's chips with salsa dip. I'm more of a Lay's chip fan with sour cream and onion. Or not sour cream and onion. That's a type of chip. With the fucking, not guac dip, whatever it is. That's my favorite kind of dip. Maybe it is sour cream and onion. I don't know. Rachel said, rename a horrible pay-per-view / PLE, but replace the word with Trevor. Good. That's a good one, Richie. Great balls of Trevor. How about that? Great balls of Trevor. Trevor Day. I mean, that Judgment Day is a good one. But yeah, Great Balls of Fire was terrible. Capital Punishment. Trevor Punishment. You could do that. What else? I feel like Great Balls of Trevor is a pretty bad one. That's pretty bad. Fatal 4 Trevor instead of Fatal 4 Way. What else? Other bad pay-per-view names. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Doritos too. I'm not a big Dorito. Like I won't actively buy Doritos. I like Doritos, but I will not buy Doritos. I like the what's that fucking Cheetos? I guess is that what they are? I don't remember. They're just too messy. Does Alexis make New York style pizza? I mean, she just makes pizza. I don't know if it's New York style, but it's just regular pizza, and it's good though. She made it last week for that party that we went to on Friday. Where do you think Triple H would be without Shawn Michaels? Bonquivi asked. That's a loaded question. I feel like Triple H still would have been it's a better question would be where would Triple H be without Stephanie? But Triple H kind of got where he was in the mid '90s because of the Click and because of Shawn. I still think Triple H would have been successful. Erickson, maybe it was just Ezra Miller. No, I don't think the writing of the Flash movie was that great either. Trevor is here. He said, it's the real Trevor. What the hell did I do to any of you? Trevor, you know exactly what you did. If that is indeed the real Trevor and you're not lying to me, then you know exactly what you did. You fucking asshole. Yeah, it wasn't just Ezra Miller that sucked about the Flash movie. I actually enjoyed it, but I didn't think the movie was great by any means. I also understand why people did not like it. Fernando, what are you talking about? So Eric Stoltz is Alley. He was supposed to be in Hell in a Cell, but got injured, and the spot went to Kofi Kingston, and Kofi Mania was born, so that makes Kofi Michael J. Fox in that story, right? Oh, you mean Ali. You said Alley. Yeah, I guess. I guess that comparison makes sense. Trevor Palooza. Trevor to Dismember. Oh, yeah, actually, I was thinking about that, Richie. I was thinking about December to Trevor, but Trevor to Dismember makes more sense because then, therefore, you can dismember Trevor. Sorry, Trevor, fuck you, but that's what happens. And Eric said, what movie director ruined his career with one movie? Mine is Tom Phillips. Definitely Tom would be up there with Joker, too, because that movie was awful. I don't know about anyone else, but that would any other directors that ruined their career with any one movie, but Tom Phillips would be up there. Not that he had this amazing career to begin with. What is the best female superhero movie? The Wonder Woman movie in 2017 would have to be up there. That movie was so great. It's not, sorry, Trevor, you're an asshole. It's not Captain Marvel. It's not the Marvels. It's not the most recent Supergirl movie, which I did like, but it's not the best female-led superhero movie. It's not Black Widow. Honestly, it might be 2017 Wonder Woman, not the sequel. The sequel sucked. What else would it be? What else would it be? I feel like it's 2017 Wonder Woman, to be honest. Trevor in a Cell. Where would Triple H be had Vince never moved on from Test? I mean, it's more a matter of Stephanie. It really all comes... I mean, again, Triple H would not be all that different. If Test was still pushed, Triple H would be fine as long as he was dating Stephanie. He probably would have been very successful regardless, like I said. All we need is a Love Ziggler account and we're golden. Yeah, loves it. I mean, that's Trevor. Or not Trevor. Fuck Trevor. Sorry, Trevor. You're an asshole, though. We don't need a Love Ziggler account. We just need Tyreek. Where the fuck is Tyreek? Tyreek popped up on WrestleRant Radio last week when Alexis made a return. Alexis returned and so did Tyreek. Something fishy about that. I brought that up to her afterward. Very interesting how that works out. All right, so what we're going to do, we've already been here, I think, 2 hours. Just about. Oh, yeah, just about 2 hours. We are going to go to the scheduled questions because I do got to get out of here soon. Johnny said, last real golden boy, or bad guy, rather. Hold on. Where would ECW be today? It would be dead. I mean, it's called fucking GCW. Yeah, I mean, ECW would really... I mean, we kind of already have ECW with all the fucking indie promotions that do death matches, so it wouldn't really be much different than that. Or it'd be bankrupt because Paul Heyman wouldn't be able to run it. Fernando said, not a superhero movie, but I think Ballerina is the best female-led action movie I've ever seen. I don't know if it's the best female-led movie I've ever seen, action movie I've ever seen, but it was great. I really did like Ballerina. I think it's underrated. We saw it when we went to Disney last year. We saw it in Disney Springs, and I really, really liked it. I saw that it's on HBO Max now. And my brother didn't get a chance to see it. He has seen all the John Wick movies, as have I. And I recommended it to him the other day, and he goes, maybe. I'm like, fuck you. You recommend shit to me all the time, and he doesn't watch it. Or, and I watch it, rather. He recommends shit to me and I watch it. I recommend him one movie, or he recommends to me shows. I'm like, I can't sit down and binge watch a show. That's more of a commitment. A fucking movie's 2 hours. He said maybe. Oh, fuck you. The Battle Arena was good. Richie said, gotta say his name 3 times. Tyreek. Tyreek is Alexis burner account confirmed. We've already been leaning in that direction as far as conspiracies go. Trevor, you know what you did. Why the fuck? If I have to explain to you what you did, then it ruins any apology that any credibility your apology would have. You know what the fuck you did. I don't have to explain myself. Trevor, you know what you did. You know who you are. You know what you're capable of. Fuck you. That makes it even worse that you did what you did and you don't even know what you did. That's even worse. Johnny said Mad Max Fury Road was a classic. I didn't like that movie. I really didn't. I mean, it was fine, but I watched it for the first time a few years ago, finally, and I'm like, okay. Was this better? I mean, I'm sure it was better in theaters. I watched it on my laptop, but still, I'm like, okay. I don't know. I was kind of fucking bored, to be honest with you. I thought it was a tad overrated after finally having seen it almost a decade later. Richie said, you got to watch Ready or Not if you haven't already, as well as the second film. Yeah, so funny story about that. I was on Disney Plus a few days ago, and I saw they added the second one, and I'm like, oh, is the first one on here? And it is. So, great female-led films. Yeah, I might watch those. I actually put those on my watch list on Disney Plus. I think Alexis would like them too. So, I'm going to have to watch those at some point. They're on my list. I know the Ready or Not, the second Ready or Not came out like last year. Johnny said, Aliens is another great one led by a female lead. Aliens might be one of the greatest female-led action movies of all time. Sigourney Weaver's amazing, and I liked Aliens better than Alien, but they're both excellent movies. I just think Aliens was better. Mad Max Fury Road was a great theater experience. I feel like it's one of those movies that's better in the theater. I don't know, even if it was in the theater, I still don't think I would have liked it as much as other people. I finally saw it a few years ago, and I'm like, okay. I couldn't tell you a single scene that stood out to me. I mean, it looked cool. I mean, the aesthetic was cool. The movie itself, it didn't really do much for me. I'm sorry. Richie said, also, I highly recommend The Sheep Detectives. Fuck that movie, but holy moly, it's great. So, Richie, a couple things. Alexis already wanted to see that movie. She already wanted to see it, but we saw so much stuff in the last month. We didn't have any time to go see Sheep Detectives while it was still in theaters. He also said, I mean that in the best way, literally sobbing by the end credits. So like I said, she wanted to see it. I didn't really like, okay, I don't really care. I don't really know what it's about, or I don't really care, whatever. But she wanted to watch it. I love Hugh Jackman. So I'm like, okay, I would watch it for him. She didn't have a chance to see it. I know that it's already on Prime. I saw they put it on Prime a week or two ago, which is wild because it was just in theaters recently. They very quickly put it on Prime. Then I saw your tweet about it, Richie, like yesterday or the day before, saying how much you loved it and how much you were in tears over it. It made me want to watch it, and it made me not want to watch it because I don't want to cry, but I'm going to. I'm sure I will. If you cried over it, Richie, I'm sure I'm going to fucking cry. I'm a baby when it comes to that sort of stuff. So we will watch it soon. It's on my literal list. I have a notes app on my phone, a note of like movies to watch, specifically stuff Alexis wants to watch and me, or that I want to show her. And that's on there. I added it. Especially if it's easily accessible on Prime, I will watch it. So thank you for the recommendation, Richie. I will let you know what I think. I'll put it up on my letterbox. Maybe I'll fucking hate it. I doubt I will. I also love Hugh Jackman, so I will have to watch that soon. What is the worst female-led action movie? Mine is Madam Web. I don't know what the worst is. Again, the worst is probably one we're not even thinking of, but Madam Web was fucking awful. The Marvels also was not good, but that's not the worst ever by any means. Madam Web was fucking terrible. It was really, really bad. Also, Wonder Woman 2 was pretty bad, but Madam Web was even worse. Fernando said, T2 Judgment Day watch-along. Let's do a Grim. So, yes and no. I saw a tweet before we went live here that said that I think James Cameron either revealed or announced or whatever that Terminator 2 is going to be in theaters, returning to theaters in like the last weekend of August. I know this makes me a terrible person. I have not seen any of the Terminator movies, I think at all. Not only not in full, I don't think I've seen any of them at all. So I know like some of the canon and shit, especially when the newest one came out years ago. I have not seen any of the Terminator movies, but I know Terminator 2 is considered like one of the greatest movies of all time, one of the greatest sequels of all time, and I like Arnold Schwarzenegger, so like I'm thinking I kind of want to watch it, and watching it in the theater would be cool. So I think I'm going to watch the first one and then go see the second one in theaters. So I say no. I say yes because I'm going to go watch the movie. I say no because I would be in a theater and therefore I can't do a watch along. I'll keep you guys posted on that. As long as I remember to go see it. That's not for another like 2 months. Richie said, text me the moment you finish it. I need immediate reactions and please go in blind. I had no idea what it was about, nor did I watch a trailer or read the synopsis. I had not either. So I had no idea what it was about. I still have no idea what it's about. I haven't watched really a trailer for it, I don't think. And then I saw your tweet and you said the same thing. You were like, I didn't know anything about it going in. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. When we watch it, which we were probably going to watch it anyway, now having seen your recommendation for it, Richie, I will go in it completely blind. I will also not do any research. And I'll have to watch it soon so we don't get spoiled. Richie said, this is inexcusable. Watch Terminator 1 through 3. T2 is the best one. I have heard that. Salvation is decent if you want to watch that afterwards, but everything else after that is bad. I've heard all of that before, including the fact that it's inexcusable that I have not seen Terminator, any of them. I think, honestly, I mean, I've seen most movies. Oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? I have seen most of them at this point. There were a lot of movies like, oh, have you not seen Rocky before? Like, I finally saw Rocky a few years ago, and I wasn't really overly impressed, I got to be honest. That might have been last year or the year before. I think it was 2 years ago. But anyway, Terminator is one of those movies. Are they on Disney Plus? I feel like those are Fox movies, so they're probably on Disney Plus. But yes, I will watch Terminator 1 in the next month and a half. And if T2 is playing in theaters, I will go see it in the theater. I think that'd be cool, especially for my first time seeing it. And then I'll watch 3. I'll skip the fucking rest. It's like the Alien movies. Like, I watched Alien 1. I watched Alien 2. Did they come out with a new Alien movie a few years ago, or was that Predator? I think it was Aliens. I don't remember, but that movie was good. Whatever the recent one was good. They did come out with Badlands, Predator Badlands. There was another movie like last year, an Aliens movie that came out a year or two ago that I thought was actually pretty decent. But yeah, I don't need to watch the whole canon. I'll just watch what you're telling me to watch. I did see Predator, Fernando. Yes, I have seen Predator 1. My aforementioned friend Connor, whose birthday's today, one of my best friends from college and to this day, saw him recently. He went to Slammiversary with us, actually. He showed me Predator. I probably should have seen it anyway because of Jesse Ventura being in it. But he showed it to me on Halloween in 2013. We had like he was having a movie marathon at his dorm. I only stayed for Predator because I wanted to watch TNA live. So I did stay for Predator, great movie. And then I rewatched it in its entirety almost exactly a decade later with Alexis, who had never seen it before. Predator is great. And some of the other Predator movies are pretty good too. Richie said, low-key, the original Rocky does not hold up. He's borderline. He is a fucking borderline creeper. Absolutely. That's what we were thinking too. He said, when it comes to Adrian and any of that type of behavior today would cancel him. Oh, 1,000%. Here's the difference though. I feel like a lot of those older movies have a lot of shit that would be considered, oh, that's not like, that would not fly today. Of course. There's a lot of movies like that, even from the 2000s. Listen, Dodgeball is one of my favorite guilty pleasures. That movie, it's not like it's a great cinematic experience, but they use the R word a lot. They use the F word a lot, and not fuck. I'm talking about the other F word. But I still love that movie, and it's still very entertaining, despite it being problematic as far as the language is concerned. I'm not going to sit here and say Rocky's not like a classic, because it obviously is a classic for a reason. But like his behavior in that movie is like borderline. It's not even like, oh, it's entertaining, so it's redeemable. It's not even entertaining. He's just a fucking weirdo trying to force himself into Adrian's house or apartment or whatever. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I completely agree. I was also fucking bored for most of it too. Richie said, Alien Romulus is 2024. Predator Badlands, I believe, is this year. Yeah, Predator Badlands came out in November of last year. I saw both. I liked both. I think I liked Romulus more, but I did like both movies. Romulus was great, awesome theater experience, and an excellent final act. The final act was crazy, man. There was a crazy, crazy-ass final act. I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Really did like it, and I'm glad I saw that in the theater, too. Aliens and Predator had new stuff come out. Yes, I did see them both. I didn't see the show, though. I don't really care about watching the show. Richie said, Predator is one of my favorite action/sci-fi films, the original. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's not like one of my favorite action movies of all time, but it is a great movie. Did you like Alien versus Predator? That is one of the only Predator movies I have not seen because I heard it was so bad or such a mismanaged movie, I did not end up watching it. I did watch Predator 2. I watched Predators. I watched the animated Predators movie, which was awesome. I did not see Alien versus Predator. Maybe I'll have to go back and watch it. I only just saw Independence Day for the first time last week. Great movie. Great 4th of July movie, but I had not seen it before last week. We watched it on the 30-year anniversary. Twins is a very underrated Arnold movie. I haven't seen it. I don't even know what that is, actually. May have to watch that at some point, Fernando. Richie said, what was considered romantic back then is completely stalker vibes today, and to think it won an Academy Award, LOL. I completely agree, Richie. I completely agree. And it's not even as if like, oh yeah, he's a fucking weirdo, but the movie's like exciting. It's not. It's not. There's other movies, and it's not even like, oh, it's a 70s movie. No, like Dog Day Afternoon. Alexis showed me that around that same time. That I actually liked. We actually just saw that on Broadway the other day. And we got front row tickets. Alexis got a great deal on the tickets, a 2-for-1 deal, front row. And it was a recreation of the movie, obviously. But it featured John Bernthal and Evan Moss Backrack, or whatever his fucking name is. And they were outside doing the autographs afterwards, as they do on Broadway shit. And I got their fucking autograph. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I don't know if you can see it in the shot. I have a playbill I have all my playbills in one place. I kept the playbill. I had them sign it in addition to a few other people from the play. So I didn't really meet them, but kind of. I mean, John Bernthal was right there. Evan Moss Backrack was right there. And I'm like, yo, I love these guys in the fucking Punisher show, among other stuff. But I thought that was cool. Eric said, please rank these Seth-led factions. The Shield, I know they were all equals. The Authority, despite the Disciple or the Vision. The Disciple would be dead last, because that lasted like 2 months. The Vision would be 3. The Authority would be 2. He didn't really lead the Authority, but that's fine. The Authority would be 2, because that was like peak Rollins in a way. And I would put the Shield at number 1. Alien vs. Predator 04 is fun. The sequel, Requiem, is awful, Richie said. All right. I'm going to watch both just to complete the canon. I have seen almost all of the Predator stuff at this point. I went back and watched Predators, Predator 2, and the animated Predator movie. I forgot what that was called. I watched all of that shit. Oh, and I also saw Prey. I saw that years ago, but I did see Prey. Prey was also excellent. I feel like the Predator stuff is better overall than the Alien shit. Could be wrong on that. I will watch Alien vs. Predator at some point. I'll watch the sequel just to complete the canon. Have I watched Men in Black? Yes. I saw Men in Black as a kid. I don't know if I saw it like when it came out, but I saw it like when I was 5 or 6. I think I saw it at a drive-in, actually. We went on the Men in Black ride when we went to Universal last year. Millennial Noob said, the only thing I liked is how the Predator died while he's laughing menacingly. In which one? Is that an Alien versus Predator? And what movie was that in? No, I never saw Twins with Arnold and Danny DeVito, Fernando. I'll have to watch it. I've never even heard of it. Richie said, Rocky did nothing groundbreaking. Dog Day Afternoon, however, the subject matter for the time it came out is fantastic, and it still holds up. And he said, I saw that. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you, Richie. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was really cool. The play itself was great. John Bernthal was great. He's literally, he was, right fucking here. We're sitting right here. I'm like, yo, that is John Bernthal's junk, right in front of my face. That is crazy. Evan Moss Backrack, same thing. Everyone else on stage was great. The ending's abrupt, but, I mean, that's just what the movie is. Meeting them afterward was cool. And yeah, I forgot about the whole, the subject matter that you're referring to. I forgot that element of the movie until we were watching the play. Because I saw the movie 2 years ago, so I kind of forgot. We actually almost watched, I didn't do this on purpose. I think we watched the movie the first time on the exact day that the movie takes place. We watched it on August 23rd. The movie takes place on August 22nd, which is funny. But yeah, I forgot about the whole gay stuff and him being gay and whatnot. I totally forgot about that. And they depict it very well in that movie. That was 50 years ago, which is insane. I love Dog Day Afternoon with Al Pacino. Yeah, it is a very good movie. Alexis showed that to me. Fernando said Total Recall or Kindergarten Cop. I know both movies. I have not seen either of them. I know I'm a bad person. I'm sorry. The original Predator he's talking about. Oh, in the original Predator. Yeah, it's a badass ending. Skittles or M&Ms, Fernando said. M&Ms. I like Skittles. M&Ms are way better to me. M&Ms are one of my favorite candies. Do I collect popcorn buckets? No, I don't. I do own a few. Nick, who was actually here in the chat earlier, him and his wife for Christmas this past year gave me, because they re-released Back to the Future in theaters last year, so there was a DeLorean popcorn bucket. They got that for me. I have it sitting right here to my left. I can't get it. It's on display. I don't use it for popcorn. I just like it as a display thing. I do have that. When I saw Endgame, I got like a tin, an Avengers Endgame tin. Again, don't use it, but I have that. That might be it. I don't think I have any other popcorn buckets. I saw the Toy Story 5 one. It looked cool, but I don't collect them. Milky Way or Three Musketeers? Neither. I don't even know if I've ever eaten. I don't know if I've ever eaten either of them. That's a tongue twister. I'll go Milky Way, though. Do I think the Odyssey will be good? That's such a loaded question. I think the Odyssey shit is so pretentious. It's like, oh, let's recreate a movie that from a story from fucking 10,000 years ago. Like, fuck you, man. Fuck you, Nolan. He's a great director. I'm not going to deny you that. But I feel like he thinks his shit doesn't stink. Like, he can't make a stinker, and every movie is like cinema. It's not. Some of these movies, like Tenet, was fucking awful. Like, Tenet sucked. The Dark Knight, great. I watched Memento last year. I thought that was great. Interstellar, great. What's that movie? Not The Departed. I forgot the other. They're all like dream sequences. I watched that a few years ago. That was good. I don't know. I might watch The Odyssey. I'm kind of steering almost towards not. It depends. I might see The Odyssey, but for $5 on a Tuesday. I'm not seeing that opening weekend. Next weekend. Richie said The Predator or Yehuda. I don't know how you pronounce that. Laughing was meant to be the final gotcha moment from the alien to Arnold, as they are the ultimate hunter and learn behaviors from their prey. I think I did know that. He said also it mimicked other behaviors of the crew in order to lure them out to kill them. I originally also didn't like the laugh part until rewatching it when I was older. Yeah, I know. I watched the breakdown of the movie and they said the same thing. I think I did know that, which is cool. That's a very great attention to detail, was the laugh. Fernando said, if you had the money and the Back to the Future DeLorean went on sale, would you try to purchase it? Of course. If I was Elon Musk, why the fuck would I not try to buy the Back to the Future DeLorean? I'd be psychotic not to. I would buy a DeLorean regardless, not to use it, but just to have it. Johnny said, Tenet is the only blemish on his record. I don't know, man. The Odyssey might join that list. I mean, that was only a few. It's not like Tenet came out 20 years ago. I don't know. I feel like Nolan is one of those directors that thinks everything he makes is absolute cinema and he can do no wrong, like Scorsese. I'm not denying they're some of the greatest directors of all time, but like, fuck you. I mean, the Odyssey, I mean, come on. I feel like I'm going to see it and be really bored. I liked Oppenheimer. I thought Oppenheimer was really good. Was it the greatest movie I've ever seen? No, it was not great. I mean, it was a great movie. Did I think it was amazing? I really didn't. I think people kind of hyped that up to be like fucking cinematic masterpiece just because he made it. Like, no. Ooh, the atomic bomb. How exciting. The Odyssey got some of your favorite actors in it. I know it does. I'm going to go see, I might go see the movie if only for those people, but I don't know. How long is this fucking movie, by the way? Sammy's going crazy, Eric said. Fernando said, nacho or mozzarella sticks? Mozzarella sticks all day. I'm actually not a nacho fan. I'm a loser. I liked homemade nachos, like the fucking microwavable nachos, like making them and stuff like that. I don't go out and buy nachos, especially at baseball games. Like the fake-ass cheese looks gross to me. I used to work at a movie theater, and the nachos there look gross. I'm a mozzarella stick guy all the way. Richie said, you know it's bad when your main actors don't even understand the script. Tenet was just okay, but boy howdy was it confusing. It was not, I mean, I exaggerate when I said it was awful. It's not awful, but it was so fucking like, oh, look at the time travel. Oh, he was getting too cute with it. Like, fuck you, man. Yeah, it was a mess. That movie was like too cute for its own good. It's probably the best way that I can describe it. Johnny said almost 3 hours. I would be shocked if the Odyssey was anything less than 3 hours. Fucking kill me. Johnny hates nachos. Nolan or Spielberg? You know, I looked at Spielberg's resume recently. I might go Spielberg. I didn't see Disclosure Day. I heard it wasn't that great. But Spielberg was involved in Back to the Future. He was involved in Jurassic Park. E.T. E.T.'s not one of my favorite movies, but I think there's more movies from Spielberg that I like overall that are Jaws, stuff like, I think, right? Wasn't he involved in Jaws? I might go Spielberg. I kind of like his taste more than Nolan's. Nolan, I mean, again, I really liked Memento when I watched that. Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies. Interstellar is great. What else has he done that I was like, oh my God, like, I don't remember. Obviously, the other Batman movies. I'd probably go Spielberg, though. Bon Quivy said, do you think we'll ever get the street champ on the main? What in the absolute fuck are you talking about, Bon Quivy? I love you, but will we ever get the street champ on the main? No idea what you're talking about. You're talking about Montez? Who are you talking about? Richie said, Robert Pattinson thought his character was dead and just a figment of John David Washington's mind. That doesn't surprise me. The fact that he was confused, I mean, we were all confused just watching it. And if you try to make sense of it, thinking, oh my God, this movie is genius, you're just making excuses for bad writing. Johnny said, what is your favorite thing from Taco Bell? Nothing. I don't go to Taco Bell. I don't know if I've ever eaten at Taco Bell. I'm a fast food guy, so I'm not shitting on fast food. I genuinely I can't say I don't like it because I've never had it. I have zero interest. And I also think it would destroy my stomach to eat Taco Bell. The sound mixing in Tenet was horrible. I didn't understand what they were saying. Yeah, everything about that movie was kind of a mess. Did I see Teen Wolf with MJF? The original MJF, Michael J. Fox. I have heard of it. I know what it is. I have not seen it, Fernando. Johnny said he prefers Nolan over Spielberg. I think most people would. I don't. I mean, okay. Let me look at this real quick. I always get sucked into this shit. Christopher Nolan. Steven Spielberg. All right. I'm going to look at Steven Spielberg's resume, or I'm going to look at Nolan's first, because I kind of remember more about Nolan's. Let's see. Nolan filmography. Has he only ever done like 8 movies? No, okay, so he's done more than that. As far as his feature films are concerned, Nolan has done following. I have never seen that. Memento, I did watch that for the first time last year. Did love it. Thought it was great. Insomnia, never seen. Batman Begins, it was okay. I think Dark Knight is 1,000 times better. The Prestige, never seen. Inception, did watch that a few years ago. Not a fan. I thought it was good, but it was like, okay. Dark Knight Rises I really liked. Man of Steel, did not love. Thought it was fine. I guess he was only the producer on it and just the writer of the story. I did not know he was involved in that movie. Interstellar is a great movie. Dunkirk, did not love. I was just almost fucking deaf in the theater watching that movie. It was so loud. Tenet, did not like at all. Oppenheimer was great. So, yeah, I don't think I'm the biggest Nolan fan. I don't. Let me see. How old is Nolan, by the way? Christopher Nolan is 50 years old. 55 years old. Spielberg is 79. All right. So, Steven Spielberg filmography. Feature films. Jaws, he was the director of. Obviously a great movie. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, never seen. Raiders of the Lost Ark, fantastic movie. E.T., obviously a classic, not a fan, but I mean, I don't really care too much about it, but it's a classic movie. Poltergeist, same thing, haven't seen. Indiana Jones, 2, love. The Goonies, I'm not the massive fan of, but that is a classic. Color Purple, I've heard of. Indiana Jones Last Crusade, excellent movie. Jurassic Park, classic. Schindler's List, I have yet to see it. I didn't see Lost World Jurassic Park. Saving Private Ryan is a classic. A lot of these are classics I just haven't seen. War of the Worlds, have not seen in full. Crystal Skull is not good. The BFG, I remember when that came out. I didn't see it. The Post, didn't see it. I remember when that came out. I actually liked Ready Player One. I heard Fablemans was great too. I haven't seen that. Yeah, I'm gonna go Spielberg. I'm more of a Spielberg guy than Nolan, I think. And he obviously has more to pick off from, but I would probably go Spielberg on that one. Let me see. Pull up the chat here real quick. Do you think Shane would have eventually failed? In WWE? I know we're almost 3 hours in. I haven't even answered the headline question yet. I do. I do think he probably would have failed. Do I think MJF... Well, I'll get to those questions now, by the way. Would MJF get lost in WWE like EC3? Definitely not. No. MJF is better than EC3, and also Vince McMahon is not in charge. MJF would be just fine. If he ever went and when he goes to WWE, he will be just fine. All right. That being said, as Daniel just reminded us, let's get to these scheduled questions before we head on out of here. I got to eat something soon. Bam. All right. There's your scheduled questions. Let's get into them here. First one being from NikeFan02. 13 years of hashtag AskGSM is a crazy accomplishment. Congrats on that. Also, if you keep on sending in comments and questions in the chat, I will get back to them after I'm done with these scheduled questions here. He said, out of all 13 years, what is the toughest question you've ever had to answer, and what is the most fun question you've ever had to answer? I have no idea. I mean, we answer questions every single week, so anything that's really in-depth is difficult to answer. The funnest ones, like when we put together the Christmas card of like Christmas characters facing each other, what that card would look like, that to me is among some of the funnest I've had answering questions. Really, all the questions are fun. Toughest question, I don't know. It's easy for me to forget because there's been so many of them. But the funnest ones are really all of them, but also specific like to the holidays and stuff like that. That I enjoy doing because it's not conventional. Let's put it that way. His second question, if Sami Zayn is not a transitional champion and actually gets a world title reign, how long would you book it and who would you have him drop the belt to? Well, he is a transitional champion. He lost the belt last night on Raw. Obviously, that question was sent in before that. But if he didn't drop the belt last night, I would only really have him hold the belt for a few months. Who would I have him lose it to? Either Punk would have been fine. Honestly, Chad Gable, because he still has unfinished business with Chad Gable. I know that probably wasn't going to happen, but that would have been fucking awesome. So let's say Chad Gable either at SummerSlam or September, October. I don't think Sami had to hold it that long, but he should have held it longer than he did. His third question, I'm currently on vacation and it's ending tomorrow, but my question this week is, what is the best vacation you've ever went on with Alexis or solo? With Alexis, we've been on a lot of vacations. I mean, some of the vacations aren't really vacations. They're like wrestling trips I've had to go on to, like I've had to attend for work. When we went to Disney World, we combined that with going to the Rumble a few years ago, but the Disney World portion of the vacation was almost perfect. That was in early 2024. So that's up there. Also going to Universal last year. We went to Halloween Horror Nights last September. That was amazing. We were only in Orlando for like less than 48 hours. But we had a blast. It was very chill. One of my favorite trips we've ever taken. Best vacation I've been on solo. Again, I don't take many vacations that don't have to do with work. But I went to Chicago for Money in the Bank 2018. And my girlfriend at the time was supposed to go with me. She dumped me right before we went on the trip. So she did not go with me. RJ filled in for one of the days. But I went on the rest of it by myself, and it was amazing. Honestly, one of the best trips I've ever taken. And also going to Vegas last year, this year, especially this year, one of my favorite trips I've ever taken, wrestling-wise or otherwise. Really had a blast over that WrestleMania weekend this past year. Jordan B. from YouTube, his first question was, besides Kofi Kingston and The Miz, how would you rank R-Truth's partnerships with Adam Pac-Man Jones, Damian Priest, Goldust, John Morrison, Road Dogg, and Xavier Woods? Pac-Man Jones I would put last. I'm the least familiar with that one, so I would put that last. And then Road Dogg. Or actually then Goldust. I think the Golden Truth shit sucked when they were doing that in 2016, 2017. That was just awful. And then probably Xavier Woods, because that was short-lived back in 2013. Then probably Road Dogg. Then honestly, the best teammate of all these guys was probably Morrison, and even that was short-lived in 2010, 2011. It did lead to heel R-Truth, though, so there was that. For best, I'll go Morrison, second Priest, third Road Dogg, fourth Woods, fifth Pac-Man Jones, and sixth Goldust. His second question, if Shane McMahon stayed with WWE in 2010, do you think Vince McMahon would have picked him over Triple H and Stephanie to eventually lead the company? Or would Triple H and Stephanie have always gained Vince's confidence in the end? Also, what do you think creative would have looked like under Shane McMahon if he had become in charge of WWE in July of 2022? Do I think... So he's asking if Shane did not leave in 2010, would Vince have picked him over Triple H and Stephanie? No. I think he left because he knew Vince was not ever going to pick him to lead the company. I don't think that would have ever changed. So would he have eventually run WWE? No, I don't. I think it was always going to Triple H and Stephanie. Do I think he would have gained Vince's confidence in that? No, I don't. I think, again, everything worked out. Even if he was still there. Like, again, he came back to the company in 2016. And then he got fired again in 2022. If he was still there in 2022, Triple H and Stephanie were still so high up on the totem pole, Shane would not have taken over. He may have had more of an executive role, but he would not have taken over. If he joined creative, if he was in charge of creative, it still would not be great. Because we were told, like, the raw underground shit and some of the other stuff they were doing in, like, 2020, 2021 were Shane ideas, and they sucked. There is no litmus test to believe that WWE would have been any better off under Shane, at least in the early 2020s. In the late 2000s, early 2010s, it would have been worth a shot for Shane to take over from his father because he would have been more in touch. I think by the early 2020s, Shane was so out of touch with what wrestling should have been and what WWE could look like that he would not have been much better off than his father. Triple H, I think, was always a better fit for creative than Shane ever was, at least in the last 10 or 15 years. So, no, I don't think Shane would have ever run WWE. Vince was not going to give it up to him. And unless Triple H left, the only way Shane would have gotten WWE was if he was working under his father in the last 10 years and Triple H had left the company and then Vince had to get ousted. Even then, I'm not confident they would have given the company to Shane McMahon. No Ill from Facebook. Now that WWE has pulled a Christian Cage title run on Sami Zayn, do you see him leaving WWE to bet on himself? No, I don't. I think Sami Zayn at this point, I know you can't really say lifer anymore, coming off like the New Day news and the Sheamus news. If Sami was ever going to go to AEW, his window's kind of passed. I mean, if he were to go there, what would he even really be doing? You know, and he's kind of older now anyway. He's so established within the WWE system and his story as well. There really is no reason for him to leave. And he's also so prominently featured on the show and winning so many titles and creatively kind of taken care of. There is no reason for him to go to AEW. Maybe 5 years ago, when he wasn't really doing anything under Vince McMahon, Triple H has handled Sami Zayn extremely well, all things considered, in the past 4 years. So no, I don't see him leaving WWE. And I don't think he should. Their second question was, will you be checking out the TNA episode of Dark Side of the Ring when it comes out? Yes, I'll be checking out the entire season. I have seen every episode of Dark Side of the Ring. I have reviewed every episode of Dark Side of the Ring here on the channel. Now, when those reviews will go up, I don't know. If I was on track with everything right now, they would be up this week. The episode airs tonight, or at least the first two parts of a 3-part doc do. I would have loved to have reviewed and had the episode review up this week. I still might. I don't know. There's other stuff I want to review first before reviewing that here for the channel. But I will be watching it. I'll be watching the entire season, and I will have that review up at some point. I probably will put it up at some point in the next few days, if not by the end of the weekend, just so I'm not too behind when it does come time to catch up. So keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, if you want to check out any of my other Dark Side of the Ring reviews dating back to last year when I started doing them on video, please do so. We have a playlist here on the channel with every Dark Side of the Ring review I've done, and the new ones will also be added to said playlist when I get to them. Let me just move the document real quick. All right, bam. Next question from Justin K. from Facebook. If you could take 3 talents, one each from AEW, MLW, and TNA, to build around on your own brand, who would those 3 be? So as you can see, I wrote down MJF easily from AEW. He has the highest ceiling of anyone there right now, and he's younger and he's established. Or Ospreay. Either MJF or Ospreay, I would probably go MJF as the more complete package. From TNA, I would take Leon Slater. I would say maybe Mike Santana, but Leon Slater is significantly younger, and he's still there. Santana, I think, is technically gone. And then from MLW, there really isn't anyone that I would like build around for a new promotion. You could say Killer Cross, but like he's already like early 40s. I just feel like he's on the older side. He's not really someone at this point that you would build around a big company around. I know MLW is building around him. That's nice. But I'm looking for youth here, so I would probably go with Josh Bishop. I've been impressed by what I've seen from him in the last few years in MLW. They don't do remotely enough with him. I like what I've seen from him, and he's a fresher face. So I would probably build around him from MLW. Justin's second question. Do you think the WWE is going to build Mason Rook up as the next Gunther? No. I mean, Gunther went undefeated for fucking years before they finally beat that guy. He was champion also right away. Mason Rook is not a champion. He's been there for a few months. He has an aura about him, but he's not Gunther. Gunther had way more of an aura than Mason Rook does. They're equally good in the ring. I mean, Gunther is probably a better wrestler than Mason Rook is. But Mason Rook, they had him lose to Jackson Drake a week or two ago. Like, I think it was last week. He's not being protected really at all. I think he lost to Naraku a few weeks ago. They're not really protecting Mason Rook. He is not Gunther. Can he be a special performer? Yeah, if they can find their footing with him and he can continue to progress as a character, then yeah, I think he'll be fine. Do I think he's the next Gunther? Absolutely not. Next question, or next few questions here from @Uagoon91. I'll move my camera up so you guys can see the questions. AJ Styles' son Avery made his pro wrestling debut at the end of that last month. What are your thoughts? He has a good look. I haven't seen his debut. I didn't really see anything else about it beyond the one tweet that I saw about it. So good for him for following in his father's footsteps, and hopefully he has he continues to train, and I'm sure he'll have a bright future ahead of him. If he's half as talented as his father, then he should have a very successful career. So hopefully the talent is genetic. Their second question, even had Tegan Nox and her girlfriend Miranda Alizé not left AEW and did the 3-minute match they were booked for, would Maya World and High End still be signed by the promotion? Probably. I don't know if they would have been signed as quickly, but I think they're talented enough, especially Maya World, where they probably would have signed her eventually anyway. I know that kind of sped up the process that they didn't sign Tegan Nox and Miranda Alizé. I don't know how long those two would have even lasted. Like, Tegan Nox was not going to win or go close to winning the Owens Hart Cup, the Women's Owen Hart Cup, the same way that Maya World was. Maya World has a lot of untapped potential. Tegan Nox is just about done. So I think they would have probably signed Maya World and High End anyway. His third question, the G1 Climax will begin in Chicago this Saturday, making it the first time the tournament will happen in America in 7 years. Since the Takeshita will take part and thus won't be back in AEW until it ends, do you see Kyle Fletcher beating him for the international title? I do. I think that's also why they're doing the match on Wednesday and they're not waiting until a pay-per-view to do it. Whether it be Redemption or All In, I think they're going to do that match on Wednesday because they're taking the title off of Takeshita, and he'll get the belt back from Fletcher probably as early as All In. @Millennial_noob from Twitter, the last two questions for today's episode, at least as far as the scheduled questions are concerned. What are your thoughts on Sheamus leaving WWE, and what are your favorite Sheamus moments from the past 19 years? I still remember when Sheamus beat John Cena in a tables match to win the WWE title, though I wish he still would have won the Intercontinental title. Me too. He absolutely should have won the IC title while he was there. I also remember when he won the WWE title. I was a freshman in high school at the time, so I didn't watch the pay-per-views back then, but I would keep updated with the results on WWE.com. And I remember waking up the next morning and checking the results and seeing that. I'm like, holy fuck. I can't believe Sheamus actually won the WWE title. That's insane. Not one of my favorite moments, but it was definitely memorable. And the fact they pushed him so heavily so quickly. Favorite moments, honestly, when he came back with his original theme song, when he came back from injury back in 2024, that was fucking awesome. It was not long-lived at all. He went back to using some shitty Def Rebel song soon after. But that was great. Him and Gunther has got to be my favorite Sheamus match from Clash of the Castle 2022. I was there for the three-way at WrestleMania 39 with him and McIntyre and Gunther for the IC title. That was a fantastic match, one of my favorite Sheamus matches. Him and Daniel Bryan, 2 out of 3 falls match for the World Heavyweight Championship at Extreme Rules 2012. Phenomenal match. Him returning the night after WrestleMania in 2015 as a heel, I thought was a great moment because he had been a babyface for so long. I was so desperate to see him go heel, and he did. That was when he came back with a dumbass mohawk. The Bar were a great team. They had some quality matches together. Him losing the WWE title, the Roman Reigns on Raw in Philly, that was more of a Roman moment than a Sheamus moment, but I enjoyed that and that match they had in Philly that night. I think that was a street fight. Philadelphia street fight or whatever it was. What else? I mean, the League of Nations sucked. In recent years, he's had some really good matches. Edge's last WWE match, to date anyway, was great on SmackDown in 2023. What else has he done? The Rusev match, a Clash at the Castle last year, a Clash in Paris, I thought was a good match. The matches he had with Pete Dunne were really good. The matches with Kaiser were really good. He's had some kick-ass matches. Braun Breaker, he had a series of great matches with. Over the IC title in late 2024, early 2025. So yeah, those are some of my favorite Sheamus moments. I feel like I became a much bigger fan of his as he got better, as he kind of came into his own in the years that followed. Matches with McIntyre were great in early 2021 as well. I enjoyed their chemistry. So, yeah, those are my favorite Sheamus moments and matches. And we'll talk more about Sheamus on WrestleRant Radio this Thursday. And his last question, with Io Sky being outnumbered against Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez, who's going to help Io Sky before SummerSlam? Rhea Ripley, ? She might possibly have a match at SummerSlam against Stephanie Vaquer, or a returning Asuka. I don't think it's Asuka. I mean, I feel like they wrote her off pretty decisively for now. It could be. I don't think it is. Why even bother taking time off if she's only gone for like a month or two? I don't think it's Asuka. I don't think it's Rhea. Stephanie would make sense. I don't think Stephanie's facing Rhea at SummerSlam. That'd be pretty fucking weird. Stephanie was on Raw and she had unfinished business the last time that we saw her with Liv Morgan. So I don't think Stephanie's going to SmackDown to face Rhea. If that's what you meant by your question. Your question was kind of weirdly worded at the end there. I kind of had to change some stuff around. But Stephanie would make the most sense. She has unfinished business with the Judgment Day. They took her out before she had an actual injury, I believe, a few months ago. Yeah, I could totally see it being Stephanie. And Stephanie helping out Io and probably getting her own crack at Liv, whether it be for the title or not, either right before SummerSlam or soon after, because we know probably that Liv Morgan is not defending that championship until it comes time for her to lose it. Very likely at SummerSlam to Io Sky. So we will close out here with the chat. Appreciate all the conversations. Thank you, Daniel, for saying happy anniversary, brother dude. I appreciate that, Daniel. Bon Quivy said, who do you think would be a Mania main eventer had it been 2 nights way earlier? That's a great question. Who would have been a Mania main eventer? Let's see. Ric Flair. He would have main evented. Him and Savage would have main evented night 1 probably of WrestleMania 8. What else? WrestleMania 2. I mean, it was already like separated in 3 different places. Let me think. In the last 20 years, Eddie Guerrero and Angle might have main evented WrestleMania night 1 of 20. So Eddie Guerrero could have been a main eventer. CM Punk would have headlined WrestleMania a lot earlier than he did. Jericho and Punk absolutely would have headlined WrestleMania in 2000 and 2013. Punk would have absolutely headlined Mania a lot earlier than he did. Trying to think of who else. AJ Styles ended up doing it. McIntyre ended up doing it. 2019, Rollins would have gotten a singles main event at Mania by now, probably against Brock at 35. Nakamura would have been a main eventer, probably with AJ Styles at 34. 33, Brock and Goldberg could have main evented Mania at 33. So there's a lot of people that would have gotten a Mania main event had Mania been 2 nights a lot earlier than it was. Even Mania, let's see, 28, 27. Del Rio did not main event a Mania, I don't think, but maybe him and Edge could have main evented night 1 of 27. 26 would have been someone that already main evented. 25 probably would have been Shawn and Taker, if not the Edge, Cena, and Big Show match. Yeah, probably the names that I mentioned. Eric said Sammy Crash Out. Are you excited for Camp Rock 3? No. I might just watch it to see how bad it is, but I am not excited for it. Does Stephanie get too much credit for the Women's Revolution, Bon Quibby asked? She gives herself too much credit, so the answer is yes. Stephanie McMahon, that is. Not Stephanie Vaquer. Johnny said, would you put Sammy in your top 5 wrestlers to win the world title only one time? It's way too soon to say. Probably, though. To win, what, the WWE title or a world title? I can't speak for every world title ever because it's just hard to say. The WWE title, probably. I mean, AJ Styles won it more than once. I mean, Jinder would not be in the top 5. He won it once. Kofi probably would not be in my top 5 despite winning it once. Ric Flair, I think, won it twice, actually. I was going to say Ric Flair, but he won it twice. Warrior might be 5 just because he might be in the top 5 just for how popular he was. He only won it once as well. Who else? Rock and Triple H won it many, many times. Punk won it many times. Brett, Shawn all won it multiple times. As did Stone Cold. As did Mick Foley. Yeah, Sami Zayn would probably be in that conversation if you're only talking about the WWE title. Yes, Bonquivi, AJ Styles main event in Mania against Taker. Boneyard match, night 1 of Mania 36. It does count. How close do you think Kofi was to main eventing the Mania before they went to 2 nights? Honestly, that probably could have main evented night 1. I mean, Kofi Mania was so hot. It was either that or Rollins versus Lesnar. It probably would have been Rollins and Lesnar, but if they were going to do the quick match with Rollins and Lesnar where it was only like fucking 30 seconds, then Bryan and Kofi absolutely would have headlined night 1 because that story was way hotter than Rollins and Brock. Who were wrestlers from the 2010s that could thrive in AEW? Johnny asked. Oh, I don't know. If AEW existed back then, in the 2010s, McIntyre would have gone to AEW instead of, when he got fired from WWE, he would have gone right to AEW instead of TNA. AJ Styles would have gone to AEW instead of going to WWE. Who else? Kevin Owens probably would have gone to AEW. Sami Zayn probably would have gone to AEW. Finn Balor probably would have gone to AEW. And they all would have thrived there. Kofi Bryan, 36, Eric said. It's actually 30. No, it was 35. That was Mania 35. Is Sammy better than Christian? Great question. I kind of talked about this earlier. I think Christian is better, but overall better, like talker, character, would probably be Sami Zayn. Bonquivi asked if Eric spells like that on purpose. Johnny said Eddie Guerrero, JBL. Yeah, they probably would have main evented Mania if Mania was 2 nights earlier. Bonquivi said, I think Caval would have thrived in AEW. I don't know if attitude issues would have cost him a spot there because they did fuck him over in Ring of Honor and TNA and WWE, so I think he would have cost himself a spot in AEW as well. But that would have been fun to see, if only for the matches you could have had there. Austin Aries, too. Austin Aries would have done well in AEW. Samoa Joe could have been there a lot earlier than he was. Yeah, any of those guys, really. Johnny mentioned Diesel, Rob Van Dam. For what? People that could have thrived in AEW or people that would have main evented Mania? Diesel was not going to AEW. Diesel, could he have main evented Mania? Yes, with Shawn Michaels in 95 if it was 2 nights. RVD, I don't think he was ever going to main event Mania. He never even came close. I don't know if RVD ever even had a singles match in Mania. I think he did for the IC title at least once, but a lot of it was like ladder matches and shit like that, hardcore stuff. RVD was never going to main event Mania, I don't think. But that's going to do it, guys. We got to get out of here. Oh, for one-time WWE champion, he's saying. Yeah, those would be among the best WWE. I mean, Diesel didn't have a great run overall. It depends. Are we talking like best people to have held the title or best reigns? There's kind of a discrepancy. But yeah, I guess you could put them in there as well. It definitely would not be fucking Jinder Mahal, I'll tell you that much. But that's going to do it, guys, for today's edition of #AskGSM, a near 3-hour episode. Very long episode here today. We haven't done an episode this long in a while, so I appreciate you guys tuning in and sending your questions and just having a generally great time with us. This is always a fun time. I want to shout out the channel members: Alexis, Miss Bond Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X. Almost had a fucking stroke there. DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG. Mr. Marceau at RJ_Marceau on X. John Ritland at Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube. Richie Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube. Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. Support all those great channel members. I appreciate you guys for supporting the channel. $5 or more will get you a WrestleRant All Access Pass. More information in the down below. If you want to support the channel any other way, be sure to like this video. Drop a comment on the video after it's done processing. Also, be sure to turn on notifications. Subscribe to the channel and be sure to join us here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for hashtag AskGSM WrestleRant Radio. Also, if you want to send in a question to the show, you can tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. Drop a question on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. Last but not least, include your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. After the video is done processing, of course, that being this video. We will be live again on WrestleRant Radio this Thursday around 9 a.m., 9:30 Eastern Time. So keep an eye out for that. Myself and Mr. Marceau breaking down Sheamus leaving WWE, CM Punk returning on Raw and becoming WWE Champion, how this shakes up the SummerSlam card, any AEW notes from a very big Dynamite coming up on Wednesday, and anything else. Daniel said, well, we get another Rock Rant style impromptu episode. The Rock rant that he went on when he returned and did the whole I have your soul bullshit, or that, or like the post-Mania Rock rant, which one? I don't plan on doing that anytime soon. If you're talking about like the Punk stuff, I don't have a Rock rant in me as far as that goes, because I didn't love it, but it's not that bad. When WWE does something that fucking stupid to justify me going live impromptu for something like that, or if they just do something that dumb and I'm not free, then I will do it. But I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. But you never know. You never know. You got to go subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications in case I ever do go live on a non-Tuesday or Thursday. But I have an anniversary to go enjoy with Alexis. We have to go out and eat actually pretty soon. Enjoy the 30 years of NWO. That being today as well, 30 years ago today. Yeah, the I Want Your Soul one that rant was insane. I went live at like fucking midnight. Thankfully, SmackDown's not 3 hours anymore, so I don't have to worry about the timing. But yeah, if WWE does something that dumb, I will go live for it. The Punk stuff with Zayn can be annoying, but it's not that bad. I haven't seen anything quite that bad in quite a while. In WWE anyway. But anyway, guys, have an awesome one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your night and week. I'll be live tonight on Bleach Report, actually, doing the reaction and grades for tonight's NXT show. So keep an eye out for that article on Bleach Report coming out a little bit later today. Until next time, guys, I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Have an awesome one, and I'll catch your ass down the road.